Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Heat Ray Vision podcast. Tonight, I got myself, Hector, also known as CN6, and with me, I got Jazzy.
What up?
And Hav.
Yo.
And tonight, guys, we are going to be reviewing probably one of our most anticipated films of this year. That is 28 Years Later. Mm-hmm. But before we do, I'd like to remind you that you guys can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Make sure you follow our socials at Heat Ray Vision Podcast or go to heatrayvisionpodcast.com. You're going to see all of our links through there. Also, make sure you join the Discord. Top link in the description. Join the Discord, guys. Come chat with us about video games, movies, TV shows, anything like that. And if you are listening to us on Spotify and Apple, leave us a rating, man. That's going to help us out a lot. But yeah, 28 years later, we're going to do a non-spoiler section, then move over to the spoiler section. But yeah, man, holy crap. What do you start off? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's finally here.
Yeah.
The long-awaited sequel of the 28 franchise. Well, the first one came out, I believe it was 2002. Mm-hmm. It was directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland, which is a name that has become much bigger than it did back in 2002. Yep. Bro has done a bunch of movies. He's going to do Elden Ring soon, so that's fucking crazy. Yeah. And then 28 Weeks Later came out as the sequel in 2007, which was, I believe, the script was written by Alex Garland, but it was directed by a completely different guy. The reason why 28 Years Later is such a big deal is because it is the long-awaited sequel to 28 Weeks Later and 28 Days Later, because 28 Weeks Later was 2007. We're in 2025 now. And Danny Boyle has returned as the director of this one. And I was a little worried because like in the interviews and shit, Danny Boyle pretty much said like, hey guys, this movie, 28 Years Later, we're pretty much a direct sequel to my movie, 28 Days Later. And it's like, oh, okay. Which I kind of figured based on the trailers and stuff. I knew that we were not going to focus on the same characters we met in Weeks. But I was interested to see what the universe that the director established in the 28 franchise, what it would look like. How much has it evolved? How much has it changed? Because now it's been years, 28 years later. So, we're nearing on nearly 3 decades that the rage virus has spread and, taken over. And so I often wonder, like, well, how does life work now? How does the world work? And in the trailer, we see Aaron Taylor Johnson, we see Jodie Comer, Ralph Fiennes is in it, which shout out to him because he's Voldemort in the Harry Potter movies, and a kid actor who I believe I don't know his name, but in the movie his name is Spike.
And we should mention that this movie was going to be called 28 Months Later.
Was it?
It was. Oh. And they changed it to 28 years.
Oh, I didn't know that. I remember when they announced the movie, it was already called Years. But I didn't know they made the change.
Here, I'll find it right here.
I had no idea they made that change. Yes. But I guess it kind of makes sense, because if we're being real, when it's been, what did I say, 2017, 2025? When it's been like almost 20 years since the last installment of this franchise, it would only make sense that the next one be years. You know what I mean? It can't be months, because like, I don't know, it would feel more at home with the years thing. You know what I mean? And another thing too to point out is that it's actually been confirmed that 28 Years Later, this film, is the first of a trilogy. And a lot of people are like, bruh, what the fuck, 28 decades later? No. It's all going to take place during the same time, but it is the first of a trilogy of movies that take place around the same era, evolving with the same characters and stuff like that. Okay.
So yeah, I got it here. That it was initially titled 28 Months Later before being changed to 28 Years Later. The reason why is because the project faced delays and ultimately didn't materialize as 28 months later. One reason was the creative team's desire to explore a larger time jump and the impact of the virus over a longer period.
That makes more sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Because when it was first announced, it was 28 months later, for sure. Because I remember at the time, it was 2023, I think. Because I think it was around that time, because I reported it on the HRV socials at the time. And yeah, it was titled that, and then they changed it to 28 years.
Okay. Interesting. Well, now that it's here and we finally saw it, and dude, for me, this was probably up there with Superman and Fantastic Four. It's one of my most anticipated movies of 2025. because I love the 28 movie so much, with Weeks being my favorite of the two. And so I was excited to go back into this world where the infected or zombie, whatever you want to call them, fucking sprint and run and rage and shit, which is probably my favorite version of zombies I've seen, because it's like, how do you outrun the runners, the sprinters? What the fuck? That's scary as shit.
Yeah.
So I was excited to go back into this world, and so I think the only thing to kind of start out the movie with is what we thought about the actors. So I do believe,
before we actually dive into that,
yeah,
give our thoughts on the other movies, man. We saw them recently.
Oh,
Yeah, we have.
Let's dive into that.
Legit, as you were saying that, I was adding my shit to the letterbox.
Really?
28 days and 20. I was like, oh shit!
So,
I realized
we actually rewatched them.
Yeah.
You know, so I say we should give our thoughts on those movies first. Maybe perhaps a rating, because we saw them recently. You know what I mean? We should talk about that. Who wants to go first?
I guess
Starting with
I'll go
28
first
days.
because those were the first time I ever watched them. I have never.
Oh, it was your first time ever watching them.
Both. I've obviously
okay.
knew about them, but I never actually watched them. So that was my first time. I'll start off with 28 days later, because obviously that's the first one, right? I was very surprised how well it held up. I mean, it's still very good in my opinion. I do believe. I think it is my out of the first two movies. That was I dig that one a little bit more. You know. I like seeing Cillian Murphy. I had no idea he was in it. I just knew he was back, or I thought he was gonna be back in this one, or some report. I could have sworn I saw a report like, "Oh, he's coming back" or some bullshit. But I think
that's what I had
movie.
heard too. And then not too long ago, they were like, "Oh no, he's not. He's not gonna be in the movie, but he's gonna be in the next two."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I guess he's not in the movie, even though a lot of people thought he was gonna be in it.
Yeah.
Because in the trailer, you see that one infected that looks
looks
like
like
Cillian
him.
Murphy. People were like, "No way, he's canonically dead," and it was not him.
Yeah.
That was it was just now that we've seen the movie, it was just some infected.
Yeah.
It was just some random dude who gets sniped. Or whatever.
But no, I really enjoyed it. I like the take that once you get bait, you basically turn into this rage zombie in 10 seconds. Because I was watching, I'm like, yo, like blah blah blah. Why what's it called? Why are they turning so quickly? And then Hav and Hector would tell me like, oh, it takes 10 seconds for them to fucking get into that rage mode.
Yeah, we learned that in the
I
first
like
movie.
what's it called? I like how some of the camera shots were used, you know what I mean, to instill like that panic, that fear, that like, oh shit's getting crazy and all that. That's very much, I think that's carried into every film. I think some shots were like that in this movie, in the new one. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was still there. That being said, there are some points in the movie where you do see the signs of the time, especially in the second one, in my opinion. It's definitely in the second one. But if I were to give a rating in the first one, I think I'll probably just give that one, I'll give that one an 8. I think it's a great film for its time period. For the second one, for me personally,
Do you want to go? I was going to say, should we all go one by one of what we think of the first film? And
let's do that. Yeah.
And then move. Okay, so
yeah, 8 out of 10 for the first one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Alf? Or you want me to go next?
You can go first.
Me? So listen, man. Man. I mean, I talked about it many times on the pod, dude. Like, I'm a zombie fanatic.
Yeah.
I'm there. When it's zombies, I've seen a lot of zombie films, even the old ones, even the bad ones, bro. Super trash, bro. Jesus Christ. So 28 Days, man, is up there with the zombie films that I really like. I really like the characters. What you said too, Mario. I like the camera work with the panic and stuff. And some of the shots with the zombies are actually like freaky, and it's kind of spooky, and I really like it overall. I remember, I think people were praising it, dude, like hella, like saying, "Yo, this is a like masterpiece, 10 out of 10." I disagree. I've seen better zombie films. I don't think it's there.
Do you think it may have been a masterpiece of a movie when they came out?
I can understand why, because people are okay. Well, look. There's some lore here. People often get confused thinking that 28 Days Later was a first zombie movie to introduce running zombies. That's not true. It's not the first movie to do that. Another movie that people think that it was a first. I think it was the Return of the Living Dead, or the Night of the Living Dead. One of those two. It was like 1985 or something. It goes even deeper than that.
Yeah.
There's another zombie movie called Nightmare City. No. Was it Nightmare City? Something along those lines. I could probably fact check myself. But point is, that movie was the one that included it first. But that movie was like a B was a B-list movie, comedic. Like it just didn't really look good. There were some points or some shots where zombies would be, you see them running.
Yeah.
But it was in a way where it wasn't necessarily spooky. Like it was
horrifying?
like it was like campy comedic type of whatever.
Oh, okay.
You know, it just didn't look like how
Scary,
it was.
yeah.
The reason why 28 Days Later people say, "Oh yeah, they're the ones that invented it," whatever, was because during that time zombie films was completely like played out. During that time zombie films were completely played out, and 28 Days Later is what actually reignited the zombie franchise and actually inciting like fear in them. Because if you look at the older movies, bro, they're pretty cheesy. I've seen a lot of them, and they are pretty cheesy. And I gonna lie, sometimes it's kind of hard to get through, you know. But I can't fault it too much because they're old. They're way older movies. And so the reason why, like I said, 28 Days Later, I think is what popularized the zombie franchise at the time again, and popularized the running zombies, the virus shit.
Yeah.
Even I think actually that the Nightmare City or that movie, they weren't actually zombies. They were like 28 Days Later. They were like infected, if I remember correctly. So they didn't even do that first. But, you know, because it's really popular or whatever, people think that's the case. I just want to fact check that. That's not true. People get that confused. So at the time, I understand why people might have thought it was like, yo, this is like a masterpiece because of the impact that it had. Like, oh shit, zombies are cool again, and they're actually scary. Because it's true, man. There's some shots here that's like, yo, that's fucking creepy. Like that one shot in the church.
Yeah.
Where like it's a quick camera shot and you just see the zombie already standing there, just staring at you. That's fucking spooky. So there is that horror element in the movie, and I get it. The way that movie definitely impacted the genre. So I see that for sure. I still don't think like it blew me away enough to say it like as a 10 out of 10. You know what I mean? I could definitely. I think when we were about to watch it again, I think I told you guys, like, from what the last time I saw the movie, I was thinking, man, I'm gonna be real. Years ago when I saw this movie, if I had to rate it, I'm thinking like an 8 or 9. I think I said that to you guys before we saw it. We actually saw it again, and yeah, I'm still there, you know. But I understand the influence that it had, and I like it a lot. So if I had to rate that, dang man. That was low-key kind of tough because I'm still like at that feeling. I'm like at 8 or a 9. But I think to play it safe, I think I'm going to give it an 8 for 28 Days Later. And yeah, have you go. I'm going to fact check the movies that I said, and then we'll go from there.
All right, so for me, I remember watching 28 Weeks Later as the first movie, and then I found out that it was actually the second. So I went and sought out the first movie, and I remember watching it when I was young. I was like a kid. And I had only seen that movie once. And when I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely a movie in the same world as 28 Weeks Later. But I remember liking it less than 28 Weeks Later at the time. And I had only seen the movie once. I remember liking it, but I remember being like, I like Weeks more.
Yeah.
Now, upon recently rewatching it, I realized that now because we are more conscious than we were when we were kids, that I grew to appreciate some of the storytelling and characters that they added in the movie that I couldn't when you're fucking 10 years old. And I do like the characters in the story writing and how like the rage virus works and shit like that. There's a lot of scenes of, I wouldn't say a lot. There's certain scenes of like where it's really intense, where you have no idea what's going on and you're just running from the infected and shit like that. But I'm actually surprised as to like, upon revisiting it, how many scenes there are focusing on the survivors and them just kind of bonding together and staying together. Whereas I'm so used to watching Weeks over and over again, you know what I mean? As that being my like top zombie movie to watch. I'm more, and I guess like to me it was like, oh, The Walking Dead was like, to me, it was my first introduction of survivors staying together and treating each other like family. We got to keep each other safe no matter what. So when I saw 28 Days Later, it's like, dude, other than Walking Dead, I didn't really see that anywhere else. So I'm surprised how much time they actually did take into trying to have the survivors stick together and stuff like that. I do think the third act is very climactic. I really liked the third act where, you know, Cillian Murphy blurs the lines of what's an infected and what's not because he isn't, but like, you know what I mean? There's that whole scene where he just goes berserk on the military base and shit like that, which is probably one of the biggest highlights of the movie. But I don't know. I kind of felt like Hector watching the first movie. Revisiting 28 Days Later, I felt like what Hector felt like watching the HBO Max The Last of Us, in which I'm like, damn, there's not a lot of infected. You know what I mean? You know how that's like one of your things with the show? Is that was how I felt with 28 Days Later, because I've rewatched Weeks Later many times. And comparing the two, Weeks has the most infected that we see, the most action sequences involving the infected, that watching 28 Days Later, I'm not saying it's boring, but it's a bit of a slow burn. At certain parts, because the spotlight isn't too much on the infected as it is focusing on the survivors trying to survive in a world surrounded by the infected. And I feel like if you want a really good zombie anything, movie, TV show, or video game, it has to be a perfect balance of the two. You have to try to please both sides. And with Days, it focused more on the survivors, whereas Weeks, when they changed the director, dude went full throttle on showing more of the infected, which I appreciated. But upon rewatching 28 Days Later, like I said, I grew a bigger appreciation for the movie. I liked it a little bit more than I did when I saw it as a kid. And I'm glad I revisited it, because there's a lot of movies from my childhood that I've watched once that I would like to revisit just to see if maybe I have different lenses or a different perspective on it. And so for me, I think I would say 28 Days Later is probably like an 8 for me.
Okay, cool. Now let's talk about 28 Weeks Later.
Weeks Later.
We saw that recently as well. You want to go first, Mario, again, and then me, and then Hav, or you want to switch it up?
Switch it up. Let Hav go first.
You want Hav to go first? All right.
Me first?
Yeah, so we ended with you.
So 28 Weeks Later is the sequel to 28 Days Later, and like I said, they had a director change, and I'm gonna be real, that makes sense. Because the vibe in Weeks is very different from Days, like I mentioned earlier, whereas Days focused more on the survivors. Weeks had a little bit more, like they put the infected in the spotlight a lot more. There's a lot more scenes where the infected play a bigger role, and you see like the destruction that they cause when the rage virus is loose. And that's one of the big props I could give 28 Weeks Later. Another thing that I love about 28 Weeks Later is the intro. The entire intro involving one of the MCs, Don, and with the group of people that he's in, with the house, like that whole first intro of the movie is probably one of my favorite scenes of film ever. I don't know, it's just so iconic to me. The cinematography, you have that feeling of like anxiety of like, oh shit, like what's going on? What's going to happen next? The music, the soundtrack, like the song that plays during the scene is fire. Like everything about that scene to me is goated. And then the movie kind of switches tracks, because then we focus on different MCs and we realize, oh, this is actually the MC of the film, not the guy we were introduced earlier. And so the film is largely focused on these two characters who are brother and sister, and you could tell that they have a bigger role to play in the movie, which you don't know quite yet until the end of the movie. You know, I'm trying to avoid spoilers in case none of y'all have seen an almost 20-year-old movie. But I do think, and this is just my opinion, I did think I liked Weeks more than Days, simply because like the spotlight on the infected being more prominent in the film kind of does it for me. I really liked some of the cinematography and some of the scenes of certain things that go down. Like I said, this movie felt way more action packed. There was a lot more scenes involving the infected than Days did. And at me personally, whereas I feel like 28 Days Later was more of a slow burn because it focused on the survivors more, there was never a dull moment for me in Weeks. Everything was always kind of moving. Even in the first act, when it kind of feels like it's going slow, it's introducing characters, it's introducing bonds, it's introducing relationships and, you know, motives and stuff. And then once the second act hits, when shit really hits the fan, starts to drive the plot forward until the very end of the movie. I find it to be very entertaining. As far as zombie media, I think it's one of my top zombie things like to have come out and stuff like that. I really like 28 Weeks Later. I don't know, it's just there's like every time I watch it, it's just, I don't know, I just can't help but to enjoy what's going on, I guess, for me. But honestly, I don't even know what I would rate 28 Weeks Later. I know it'd definitely be a 9.
Because before we saw it, you said it was a 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I wondered, like, did that change when you saw it again?
I'm still around the 9-10 range.
Okay.
The range. I don't know which number I'd go for, but I do know I like it more than Weeks.
Okay.
So it's definitely 9 or 10. It could flip-flop. The only reason why I don't give it a full 10 is because I'm waiting for like, I don't know, maybe I'm hopeful. I'm waiting for like the next zombie movie or something that could potentially top it. Because let's be honest, we can all have a favorite something, but like it's always clutch when something else comes and tops the thing you've held goated your whole life. For me, that was like Batman. To me, I always thought the Dark Knight trilogy was the goated Batman movies ever, and it still is. But when Matt Reeves' Batman came out, I was like, oh shit, this is comic book accurate Batman. I feel like I'm watching Batman Arkham Knight, the game, in movie form. That's how that feels like. And so that took my placement of Batman goated movie as opposed to the Christopher Nolan movies, you know what I mean? Which I still think are goated and they're still fire, but there's always like a satisfaction of like, dude, this one's even better though. And I was there. I was in the movie theater. It was opening night. It was lit. You know what I mean? So I want to give it that leeway because I feel like there's one out there. Hey man, we just saw 28 years later. Y'all about to find out real quick whether it did or not.
Yeah.
But I want to give it that leeway. But yeah, as I feel like giving it a 10 stamps it as like, well, now every other zombie thing that comes out can only be as good as weeks later, not better. So that's why I give it that leeway.
Are you talking about like just general movies or just overall anything? Okay,
shows, video games.
I think I can name 2 that passes 28 weeks later.
Well, and
which I'll talk about.
Like films?
I can name of one film and one show.
I could, and with that, I'm guaranteed I haven't seen them because you're
for sure.
You know what I mean? So but yeah, that's where I'm at for weeks.
Okay, cool. So 9,
9, 10,
9, 10, okay.
Right around there. That's where I'm feeling.
So you want to go?
You're next.
You want me to go next?
Yeah.
28 weeks later, man. Damn. I agree with Hav. I mean, I think I did enjoy it a bit more than 28 days, but because of the zombie aspect, there's more action scenes and all that stuff. I love that part, right? Now, the thing that I did not like in 28 weeks later is the characters. I don't really like the characters, like the MCs. I didn't really care for them like how I did with the 28 days later characters. And I think that's where it dropped. Like the intro, I agree with Hav. The intro in any type of all the zombie films that I've seen, zombie shows, I want to say that's definitely up there at like one of the peak moments in the zombie media. It's so fire. It's phenomenal. I love it. Then the rest of the movie happens. And that's where, like, for me, it just drops. Yeah. I just, I don't know. Personally, like I said, I really like the action of the zombies. I love the intro. But what really loses it for me are the characters. I don't feel that same connection, that same weight that I care about these characters. I want them to win or survive like how I did in 28 days. And I think that's very important, you know? And I guess that's kind of foreshadowing to 28 years later because they do a really good job on that in that department. But that's where I fall off with 28 weeks later and the overall story of like how the overall story is being pushed forward. I just there's some questionable things that just doesn't really make sense to me, or I don't really believe that. It's too much to ignore, at least in my opinion. I always thought that as well when I watched 28 weeks later. I'm like, yo, this is fire. The intro's fire. And then I remember just like dozing off throughout the movie until like we see the cool zombie shit, right? And then after that's gone, I'm like, all right, well now I'm dozing back off. You know, I always felt that way with that fucking movie, man. I don't know. And it's interesting to see that so many people, because I know a lot of people praise it as well. A lot of people really like that movie. And then you have, I remember you mentioned it, like, dude, go to the movie 10 out of 10. And I felt like, am I like in a minority?
Oh, yeah.
Am I in the minority then? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Oh, yeah. I know that feeling very well.
Because I don't think this bitch a 10, bro. What the fuck is going on
I
here?
know that feeling very, very well.
You know what I mean? Like, this is like I don't see it, man. Like, do you not see this, all these issues? Mario, actually, when we were watching it, you did see some of the issues. So that's pretty cool that you did. But yeah, I remember Mario was like, what do you think, bro? Is this like an 8 or whatever? And I'm like, dude, an 8 for us in our rating scale, that means great. Dude, that's hard, man. That's a strong word. I don't think no, man. I don't think is an 8 for me. I think 28 weeks later, I'm like in the 6 or 7 range. I'm like a 6 or 7. I could change it later. I think I'm gonna go with 7. Just because the only reason why is because that's the zombie. Whenever the zombies are there, it's fire, and the intro, fire. But yeah, I think 7, man. I think 7. I think 28 days although I agree with you, Hobbit, it is like a slow burn. I think it has more of an edge because you actually care about the characters, and I think that's really important. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with a 7 for 28 weeks. 28 weeks later, and since to name the movie and the show, movie that I could think of at the top of my head, that for sure, like maybe will maybe a 10 out of 10 for him. Train to Busan.
Yeah, no, that's a 10 out of 10 for him, bro.
Train to Busan.
That movie's fire.
That is an amazing, phenomenal zombie fucking film, bro.
Yep.
You gotta check out. And as for the show, which you gotta check out too, is a 2019 show called Kingdom.
Yeah, so you told me about this.
And it takes place during the
like Japan time or something like
historic Japan, like
Yeah.
back then. Bro, fire. That's a fire show. It's called Kingdom, 2019. I believe it's 2 seasons. Then they dropped the movie. They dropped a spin-off movie in that tied to that universe. I think that came out in 2020 or 2021. I can't remember. I didn't see it. I just never had the time for. But yeah, so those are the 2 things. And I also fact checked what I was saying earlier. Yeah, I was right. The movie I was referring to that people think that it was like the first zombie movie or whatever. It was a Return of the Living Dead, 1985. But the one that actually did it, which was the B-list movie, was actually called Nightmare City, also called City of the Walking Dead. So yeah, okay. I didn't get that confused. But yeah, that's it. That's my thoughts about 28 weeks later. What about you, Mario?
Is this the show you're talking about?
Yes, sir, girl. Kingdom. You should check it out.
All right.
It's really good.
It's on my list. I just never checked it out.
It's really good.
All right. So for 28 weeks later.
Yeah, what'd you think, man?
I enjoyed the film. I think it's a good film, right? Good to great film. For me though, the action was cool. I think I do agree with you on that. When the zombies are there and the action is there, it is amazing, whatever, right? For me, I think my issues comes with the characters and also how the story unfolds after the intro.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue, bro.
Because the intro is fire, it is gas. I'm not gonna lie. When I was watching it with you guys saw my genuine reaction. I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
Dude, it's fire, bro.
Like it's fire.
It's great.
I don't know if I said it, but I was like, "Oh, I can see why you guys say the intro is fire." Yeah. Right? To me, there's just certain moments within the second movie where I'm just like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
Or I'm like, "Wait, how'd that happen? That makes no sense."
Yeah.
Right? Where like it's one of those things where like I hate that my brain notices that shit because it takes me out of the movie if that makes sense. Because I'm just like, wait, that shouldn't happen because this makes no sense. You know, like I need that to be explained to me before I can like enjoy myself, immerse myself into the film. And so I would say those reasons are the reasons why it's not as high as for me as the first film. So because of that, I think it's like a 7. I think it's a good film. But it's for what you said, the intro and like the zombies when they're on there, bro. It's badass. Yeah. It's just I can't get behind how the story unfolds. Really,
yeah.
That's my biggest issue is the story, how it unfolds, how it happens. Like I don't really buy it because I don't buy that it went down like this for like a few scenes. There's like a few scenes I can't say obviously.
And just the characters too, bro.
The characters, yeah.
It's kind of hard to like them when they're dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's my issue. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I know what you mean, man.
Actually, how did you touch on the characters? What'd you think about the characters?
Fuck, bro. We're still talking about this. I was hoping we'd stop it at 28. Because like 28 years later review, 28 days later, weeks later review. I wanted to be like, oh shit, like it's at 28. Like, what if we ended it? But no, it's cool. We're still talking about it. That would have been a cool coincidence though.
Yeah.
I would have been like, yo, 28 days 28 minutes and 28 seconds into the, you know what I mean? But man, missed opportunity. Because I was actually, because Mario was finishing it up, I was like, oh my god.
Oh yeah?
We might actually finish it. I don't know, it would have been like a nice coincidence. Yeah. Sorry, the characters.
What'd you think of the characters?
So
I don't think you touched on that.
The characters, well, like I said, the brother and sister.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I knew that they had to do, I think, something stupid in order for there to be a plot. Otherwise, like, I know that whatever, if the actions that they did were not done, it would have not driven the plot forward in a sense. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, while there are some things that logically, sure, don't make sense, I knew that, well, if it was more realistic, there wouldn't be a movie to make out of. So, I don't know. But what they could have done alternatively would be like add scenes that show the explanation. Sure.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe there is. And maybe like studios are the ones that are meddling, you know, wouldn't be the first time to meddle, like take scenes out for time's sake. Or maybe the director was like, nah, like it's lit like this. Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I mean, yeah, I could understand where you guys are coming from, definitely. But at the same time, I guess I'm more thinking of it like, if they had not done this, plot would not have driven.
But it could have been
forward.
different. I think that's what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? It could have been done better. If we're gonna be honest, we've seen a bunch of movies that that's unrealistic because it's a fucking movie, but they do it. Better. They do it where you can actually
believe it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Here it was like, they just did it.
Yeah.
You know, but okay. Mario, you said 7, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, sweet. That's everybody. 28 years later. Oh man, what should we?
We're finally here.
Can I just rip the Band-Aid?
Just
do it?
What?
I'm gonna just rip the Band-Aid.
Oh, fuck, bro.
I think, okay, I was expecting more.
In terms of what?
Movie.
Like what?
I'm gonna be real. I thought this was gonna be like a 10 to 9 range for me.
Oh, in terms of
so I'm
rating.
already spoiling my rating. And there's some things that didn't really click for me, which maybe we'll dive deep into it.
Okay,
But there's some really cool stuff though.
Yeah.
that I really like.
Okay, Mario.
Yeah.
To what Hector said, how do you feel? Do you agree or disagree?
It's not bad,
I would
but
say like
it's
I'm with him on that. It's not a bad movie or like I think it's or a mediocre film, right?
It didn't blow me away.
It just yeah. I was kind of expecting a 10 too.
Okay.
Or like a 9.
Right. But I didn't feel like my time was wasted.
Okay.
Nah.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
Or like what we got, I enjoyed. How much I enjoyed it, you have to wait and see. But like, I was kind of expecting more in terms of enjoyment.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Which I'm kind of
Okay.
excited to
All right,
dive
Hav?
into it.
All right. Per what you two said,
What about you?
Or did this blow you away?
then we are agreed.
Let's go.
Oh shit, we're all cousins.
We're all cousins. We're all cousins. And listen, it hurts me to say that.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Because
Me
I
too,
was
man.
fucking looking
Me
forward
too.
to this movie.
Yeah.
Me too.
But don't take this the wrong way, guys. I don't want you guys to think that the movie's trash.
No,
it's not.
no,
This is actually a really good movie, but there are things about it that I'm like,
I don't know.
I don't know exactly. So
Let's get into it, man. Let's get into
the
it.
problem is we can't really get into too much of it because like the shit that I want to say, bro, is spoilers.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So I want to talk about it, but I gotta wait a little bit. So we'll just play it safe, spoiler free. Let's start easy. All right, actors, the people in the movie. What did you guys think of the actors in the movie?
I think it was phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think the acting was actually phenomenal in this film.
I agree.
I believed everyone's performance. Everyone did a great job. Specifically that kid. That kid really surprised the fuck
Yeah.
out of me.
bro.
It's either good or bad. He was great.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even fucking. He was
agree.
legitimately great.
I wasn't. I mean, I feel like the trailers, everything that I saw, bro. Like Aaron Taylor Johnson was shown a lot, so I assumed he was going to be our MC, but it turned out to be this kid.
Yeah.
He was actually the main character, which I looked it up. Bro's 14.
Really?
He is
wow.
14 years of age. So
Yeah.
he's pretty good
see that.
at the acting range that
That's
she
true.
was giving in this movie, bro. This dude's got a bright future ahead
That's
of him,
true.
dude. He's really good. But yeah, man, I was expecting to see more scenes with Aaron Taylor Johnson because he was
I
showing
thought
so
he
much
did
in the
great.
Yeah, he was great too, but
Yeah.
I was a bit. I guess where my disappointment kind of comes in with the acting and the casting is that the trailers showed us a lot about Aaron Taylor Johnson, and I thought we were going to focus on him and the kid, but somewhere in the second act he kind of takes a back seat, and like you don't really see him in the movie
As much
anymore. And that was kind of like, okay, interesting. In fact, and I guess you can't really judge the movie too much per se because the trailers were very vague about what the plot of the movie actually is. And when it comes down to it, now that we've seen it, the movie felt like it was about two different stories.
Yeah.
And that is that for the one half of the story, it's about
No
no, it's not. It's not. It's about, Aaron Taylor Johnson taking his son, which is the kid actor, who in the movie is named Spike, and and he takes them out to finally start patrolling onto the mainland because they live on this isolated island away from the mainland, which is where all the infected are, and he's taking them out there to basically, train him to patrol the mainlands and stuff like that. But then the second half of the second storyline in the movie is that it's now an adventure movie.
Actually, we shouldn't say. I feel like that was not in the trailer at all.
Yeah, no,
we shouldn't say.
Yeah.
But it's something different.
Yeah, it's where he has to go and reach a destination in the middle of the mainland for reasons that are spoilers.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, interesting, because I was under the impression, just based on the trailers, and obviously the trailer didn't give me shit as far as plot, so I had to make it up in my head. I'm like, it's going to involve Aaron Taylor Johnson, this kid, and then for some reason Voldemort pulls up and he's covered in paint or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're the antagonist, or they look like he belongs to maybe a tribe full of other people who have become one with the infected, or I don't know, something. Because you see like the monument of the bone skulls, and you're like, that's got to be something. And so the trailer just showed a bunch of imagery, and then when you go and watch the movie, it's like, I would never have pieced this together.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff in the movie I would not have pieced together.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing? You know what I mean? So the trailer didn't give me really the idea that the movie was going to go in this direction. And I guess we'll transition into that. The story, or stories, right? More accurate. What did you guys think of the stories?
All right, man. First act, like the very beginning, I was hooked. I thought it was phenomenal.
Okay.
And then similar with 28 weeks later, then the rest of the movie kind of just happens.
Yeah.
I liked it. I don't get me wrong. I liked the other half. I liked it.
Yes.
But not as much as the first half.
It just felt like it didn't belong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The first half, I thought this was like, okay, I'm in. Let's go. We're diving deeper. Okay, cool. And then it's a complete like 180 or like a change of pace. And it just, like what you just said, it feels like it's out of place. I liked it. I did. I didn't think it was bad. I liked it, but it's just, let's go back over here. Let's go back in the first half. You know?
I think because I just felt like there were two different storylines being told in the span of this 2-hour runtime.
Yeah.
I just wished that Danny Boyle and Alex Garland would have just committed to one storyline, and have that either be Aaron Taylor Johnson training his son onto the mainland to kill infected, and who knows, maybe like I don't know, they for some reason get stranded, or maybe they're trapped in the mainland, they can't get back home to their island and they have to survive, and I don't know, maybe it's like a rescue mission, a survival mission, I don't know, something like that. Or commit to the other storyline, this adventure road trip storyline where they have to go, our group of survivors have to reach a destination in the middle of the mainland, in the heart where all the fucking bullshit is, the infected and everything, to accomplish the goal they have to get there and stuff. Well, commit to that and have the movie just be that. But because you take two different storylines and combine them, I feel like I'm watching two different movies. Whereas, like, I feel like if I would have split this movie in half and made them short films as opposed to feature-length theatrical released films, it probably would have felt like completely different films and completely different vibes. You know what I mean? It would have felt completely separate. But when you fuse them, they just kind of feel out of place. The only thing connecting these two separate and different storylines are that there's the same characters connecting the two. You know what I mean? But it also feels like I just watched 28 Years Later 1 and Years Later 2. Like they took drafts for a first movie and a sequel and did them both, and it's like,
I
why?
agree.
You know what I mean? Because we know that there's going to be a sequel to 28 Years Later called 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, but it just felt like I already saw half of the Bone Temple because that's how different the storyline felt from the first one. So I just wish they would have committed. So I just felt like it was unbalanced.
I think that's like my biggest complaint.
Yeah,
I want to say.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Mar? What did you think of the storylines? I have another thing to say, but I want to let you talk.
I enjoyed the first act, I think, the most.
Yes.
But the second act, I enjoyed it, but it's kind of like what you guys said. It just fell out of place. But I enjoyed the second act more than I enjoyed the second act or just the rest of the movie in 28 Weeks Later, if that makes sense. I think that was better than 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah,
it was just more actually where I bought everything. It was believable.
I agree. Yep.
You know what I mean? So that made me enjoy the movie more. Because I mean, I'm not sure if it made me feel the same way like it did with 28 Weeks Later. Then I would have felt like this movie was a goddamn waste of my time. I was like, okay, what the fuck? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But gratefully, no, it didn't. It's tough, man, because I really did enjoy both parts of these movies, which is weird to say. But it should have just focused on one thing.
That's what I'm saying.
It really should have just focused on one goddamn thing. Because now it's funny that you said the title of the next movie, because I'm just like, wait, that's the title of this shit? Given if you watch this movie, I'm just like,
you would have thought,
bro, did we really just watch like the first half of that movie?
You would have thought this movie would have been called,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. I know what you mean, Mario.
Yeah,
Hey,
so I don't know. It's just
sorry,
confusing.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's just confusing. I don't know why they decided to do it like this. Cause I was locked in on that first. I was
Yeah,
like, all right.
dude.
I was like,
no, dude.
the vibe. Some of the camera shots, how they set up the infected. I was like, oh fuck.
I was
yeah,
like at a
give me-
9 to 10 range.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I can say this, and I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I can definitely buy that the same team who brought us 28 Days Later made this one, because I personally felt that another thing, I wouldn't say it's a negative, because they're in it, just not as much, is the infected taking a back seat.
Oh yeah.
You can
Yeah.
definitely feel that this is the same team that made 28 Days Later, because again, like that movie, what I mentioned earlier, it focuses more on the survivors than the infected. Now, granted, I'm not saying, hey, bro, I'm trying to see the infected and like their storyline and their relationships, because they're infected, they're mindless.
yeah.
And there's a line in the movie where Aaron Taylor Johnson says, if they have no mind, they have no soul. Therefore, like, they're not really people anymore. So obviously, I'm not saying give me a whole arc with infected, but I would have liked to have felt like they were more of a lingering presence, because in that, particularly in the second plot line in the movie, when they're doing the road trip thing where they're traveling from one place to another, they run into infecteds a couple times. But given how dangerous they hype up that the mainland is filled with the infecteds, and we stay away from them as much as we can, and when we do go, we got to be alert and armed to the brink with our bow and arrows, Green Arrow style. And it's like, damn, like all this walking to go to the middle of the mainland took them like a day or two to get there, or something like that. And it's like they only ran into infected twice.
Yeah.
So like, I could definitely tell Danny Boyle directed this bitch, because it's like, there's not a lot of infected.
I think it's like you could tell for better or for worse, because the worst part, the negative part, is like, okay, less infected. All right, cool. But the better part, it's like these are well written characters.
Yeah.
And there's that emotional aspect that I felt from the first movie.
Yeah.
Versus in 28 Weeks Later, that's where it lacked for me. You know, so that's like another like positive. Okay, cool. Sure, we might not get as much infected, which sucks, because whenever they were on the screen, it was fire.
Yeah.
At least I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
But then now that fuck, I lost my train of thought. What was I thinking of? What the fuck did I what did I just say?
You said that
was gonna
just
make a
like in
point.
the first movie.
I was gonna make a point.
You said that just like in the first movie, where it lacked the infected as a negative, but a positive out of that, it focused on the relationships of the characters.
Oh, yeah,
that this movie did the exact same thing.
Yeah, and they're just better written characters. There's that emotional aspect, and that's like another positive
Right.
that I have about this film, that I really liked it.
I do
like
too.
I really liked it.
I do too.
Especially compared to 28 Weeks Later, where I just the character and the way the characters were written in that movie, I just did not really like. And also the intro of 28 years later was actually really good too. And I could I could see what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's all right, cool. This is actually pretty fire, which I like it. I like that they kept it. And what else? Is there anything else? Should we talk about like the positives? Should we move, or should we stick with the negatives?
More positives?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I really like
I was gonna
I really like the cinematography.
So
A lot of amazing shots.
yes,
Yeah.
the cinematography I thought was there.
And some of the cool shots that they use with the iPhones, which I don't know if you saw like behind the scene photos or like they shared. They have like I don't know how many iPhones. They have a bunch of iPhones shaped of like a U.
Yes.
And so sometimes there'd be shots where you get like 2 or 3 different angles in a short span of time, like 2 seconds, and it looks super cool.
Yeah.
I never seen that before, but it looks super cool. So I thought that was really cool. The cinematography overall, it was visually visually it looked phenomenal. I liked it a lot. Same thing, we talked about the characters a bit. The characters, and they're really well written. There's that emotional aspect. There is an issue that I have like with some of the writing, which we'll get into in the spoilers, which I'm like, okay, I'm buying everything, but I'm not buying this. I'm like, I don't get this. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to be too artsy with it. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea. But I just wasn't. I was like, this doesn't. This is not really believable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. What else do we? I think. I mean, do you guys have anything else? Something else?
Well, I mentioned that I would have liked to have seen more of the infected because they were kind of held back a bit, kind of like how 28 Days Later was. But a part of me, I think, I'm still on that action hype of weeks that I was hoping to see infected in more of in more hordes.
For sure.
Rather than like when they run away from like 5 of them.
No, yeah.
Every time they're being chased, it's 5 or 6.
But it's always menacing though.
So
like they do it right.
Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely.
They always do it right.
But like, I wish I would have seen more of the hordes, more of like when there's groups of them, and you're like, there's too many for us to fight. Then yeah, we run. You know what I mean? I would have like maybe have seen more of that, more scenes of like anxiety and tension. There was a few in there that worked, but I would have liked to have seen more, which. For half the movie, that kind of goes away because there's this fucking road trip storyline that kind of came out of nowhere. There are some things in the movie that I kind of didn't buy because I was kind of like, what's going on here? But then I had to look it up on my phone, like after the movie ended, like how does this make sense? And I got my answer, but I don't know if I liked it.
Okay.
And I'll talk about it in the spoiler section.
Maybe it's the shit that I'm referring to.
Because like I got my answer and I'm like, oh, okay. But I don't buy that. I don't like the answer I found. And this is technically coming from Danny Boyle. Like this is technically coming from the director. Like he pretty much confirmed it in a way. I'm being vague. I'll get to it in the spoiler section.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, and then go ahead.
I guess another negative maybe that I might have is how the movie ends.
Oh, I was gonna bring up the ending.
Okay. I want to talk about
like the way. Okay. I'm gonna be real, man. This is an interesting zombie movie, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is very interesting. The ending is very interesting.
Yes.
Like without spoilers, but it's like what the fuck is going on?
Yes.
It's cool. It was cool, but once again, I felt like it kind of felt out of place. I think that should have been like a post-credit scene or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the way that ended, I'm like, all right,
yeah.
okay, that's the ending. I think that should have been like a post-credit scene. I don't know. But yeah, other than that,
I agree.
What do you guys think about that?
No, I say the same thing about the ending. I agree.
It felt out of place.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of liked the ending of the movies where
like
it was going.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, bet I can already sense when like the credits are about to roll, right?
Yeah.
But then it kind of kept going, and then it like had this one last scene before actual end credits, and I was like, okay, that could have, like, I agree with you. I didn't even make that connection, to be honest. That it could have been a post-credit scene.
It could have.
I would have just said, like, maybe don't include that. And if it is set up for the next movie, wait till the next movie. But you're right, post-credit scene probably would have been more fitting because it kind of teases the next movie. So that would have made more sense. I didn't think of that. But yeah, I agree with the ending. The ending, I felt like if it would have cut off at a certain point, that would have been like, okay, cool, fire ending. But then that extra scene happens, and I'm like,
it's like, what?
What are we doing? What's going on? So I don't know, man. I don't know. In a sense, I know where they're going.
Oh yeah,
and I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I imagine in the world of 28 years later, I imagined that we were going to run into this thing, which a lot of zombie media tends to do. But I don't know. I just wish there was a better way to execute the ending.
What about you, Mario? What'd you think, bro?
Like I said, man, I felt out of place. It was cool once we get that one shot where you see what a certain character is wearing, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't say because of spoilers, but I was like, but why here though?
Yeah.
I was like, why do that here? You know what I mean? I don't know. It just felt confusing, bro. I don't know. I didn't mind it personally, but it's just more of a confusing thing where I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to say if people who love 28 weeks later and even 28 days later, I have a feeling that like maybe if might feel the same way as us, or maybe even a bit worse, because
Let's see.
there's a shift in the movie, man, that I could see many people not liking it at all.
Yeah, and you have
You
to
know?
think about it. I mean, we've been doing this shit for years, a couple years now, for HRV. Now you got to kind of put yourself in the casual shoes. If the casuals
Well,
who
the
are like, oh, zombie movie, got to be there,
They're
goes
not,
and sees that. You see what I mean?
They wouldn't fuck with
I
it.
feel the same way, bro.
Hey,
I feel like casual, because like number one casual in my life, bro, I have a younger sister.
Yeah.
And she loves the 28 movies. She loves zombie movies. And she's like me. She also thinks 28 Weeks Later is W, 10 out of 10 movie. So I can already tell my 23-year-old sister, if she goes and sees this shit, she's going to be like, what's going on? Like, I can already hear her.
Hell no.
I already know, bro, because I know she works, bro. She said Deadpool and Wolverine was mid because she didn't understand half the references
Oh my
and the
God.
Easter eggs and the cameos.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. She's a
Yeah.
casual. So I could just tell this movie might not click with her, and for a lot of other casuals. So
I mean, you're not
I
wrong.
guess that's where reviews come in clutch. That's why you go on Rotten Tomatoes or you subscribe to Heat Ray Vision Podcast so
Yeah,
that
right?
we
W
look,
Actually,
tell
let's check
you-
Rotten Tomatoes.
No, I have it already. pulled
No,
up.
Oh, really?
bro, you're
Yeah.
gonna,
What is it?
bro,
It's at 66.
Get this.
The audience,
66 audience
But get this. Ready? Say the other one, Mario.
90%.
for critics.
yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Bro.
Yeah,
Crazy
makes
work.
sense. It makes sense. The casuals ain't gonna fuck with it.
Maybe we just know our. Maybe we know.
Wait, what?
I feel like we fall in the middle, maybe.
Yeah, probably right.
That's why I'm saying, like, I think that's
fall in
where
the
the
middle.
reviews come in clutch because we warn casuals and tell people what to expect before they go see it. And it, like,
Damn,
if-
66? That's not clicking. Damn. That's crazy.
yeah, dude. Yeah, man. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
are just turned off by the fact that, like,
Switch.
the switch up in the plot and, like,
Maybe
less infected.
Less infected, yeah.
Some stuff like that. I can see it, definitely.
It's one of those things where it's like, but this is not about the infected.
Yeah.
The real
the art.
monsters are the human. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
bullshit. It's like,
Oh, and
no.
I would have bought that.
Yeah.
I would have been fire, but I just felt like there would have been a better story to be told if we were going to go down that route. I guess.
Who knows? Maybe the next movie.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm hoping. I mean,
That ending was interesting.
yeah, and I know we're going to see more
Yeah.
of that.
That
What we
shit
saw
was
in the ending, I know we're going to see more of that. So we're gonna have to just wait and see what's up. But
Is that
Is
it?
that everything?
I'm thinking, bro. I think I pretty much said everything.
So it's just ratings now?
on my end. What about you guys?
It's just ratings for me.
Yeah, me too.
All right, you go ahead. Maybe I can
All right.
keep thinking of something.
All right, so for this film, I was very much looking forward to it after seeing the first two. I was like, all right, I see the vibe the first two films have. Knowing that Alex Garland is part of this and the director, I was like, all right, there's a good chance this might be a 10 out of 10 for me, right? So those were my expectations for this film heading in. Heading out, I can confidently say that they weren't met, but I'm also not going to say this movie was a waste of my time. I enjoyed what was shown to me. I think there's a lot of depth to this film, a lot of unique things where I'm just like, oh, okay, that's very interesting.
That's true.
Right? So for me, out of 10, I do think I enjoyed this film more than 28 Weeks Later, but I think I enjoyed it just the same as I did 28 Days Later. I think this is just a great film. I think it's an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Sadly, I can't give this a 9 or a 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's the same rating I would give 28 Days Later, which is kind of disappointing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even though it's a
that's-
great movie,
Yeah, it's a great movie.
but we were hoping
it would be a 9 or a 10.
it would be
more.
higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for
I
me, it's an
agree.
8 out of 10.
I think I agree, man. That's what I'm sticking with. I did enjoy it more than 28 Weeks Later, for sure. Just a lot of cool stuff here, man. There's a lot of, and especially because they show cool ways of how things have changed in 28 years, and we get glimpses of of maybe the whole, I guess the whole world still moving. That's cool. Like, I like it, and I like the changes to what they're trying to do. It's very ambitious. Like, okay, this is very different. Okay, interesting. Obviously, we'll talk more in the spoiler section, and we'll give our thoughts on that. So that's like another positive. There's a lot. Like, I'm not gonna like. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff here, man. A lot of cool stuff, but the things that we talked about, it's just, it doesn't really cut it, man, for me, for a 9 or a 10 range. That's like way too high up there.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, Mario. I think it's an 8 for me.
All right.
What about you?
Yeah.
Hav?
So, unfortunately, I wanted to love this movie. Unfortunately, I wanted this movie to be another a 10, not even a 9, bro.
Yeah,
I wanted it to be a 10. I love 28 Weeks Later. I after revisiting it, I love 28 Days Later as well. And I was just hoping if we were coming back to this franchise, coming back to this universe, especially with a long ass fucking hiatus separating us from the last movie to this movie, that it would be fire. And while while I did like it, it didn't reach the expectations I hoped it would have met. I wanted to walk out of this movie feeling like I did watching The Batman or Dune Part 2 or Deadpool and Wolverine or Across the Spider-Verse. Like something where I walked away like, that was an experience. That's a film.
Dude, the first half, the first act is fire, bro.
I know, dude.
It's like, dude, I'm digging this.
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. No,
And then-
absolutely.
Just halfway. I mean, it's still good,
Yeah.
but it's not as good as what we got in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just the potential, man.
I know, dude. I know, bro. I know. So,
But it's still, it's still great. I feel, it sounds like we're shitting on it, but we're not. Like,
I know.
It's still great, bro. It's still really, it's a great zombie movie.
yes.
Out of all, I've seen a lot, man. It's up there for sure. Like it's
Yes.
still great, but it's just, I think we're just really disappointed. I guess a little bit. You know, what I mean, we're just maybe we just had extremely high expectations.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I was hoping it would deliver because Alex Garland has been on a streak recently, and Danny Boyle has made good movies in his past.
That's true.
28 Days being one of them, but he's done other movies in his past that have been fire. So even though I don't think I've seen any of them except for Days Later, I knew they were good enough because you're going around Tomatoes or you've heard people talk about it, and it's like, oh yeah, I've heard good shit about that movie. It's one of those iconic movies in film in Hollywood that he's made. So I'm like, it has to be good. And dude, it's fucking zombies. It's infected that run and sprint after you and are fucking scary, bro. And they bite you and infect you and you turn in 10 seconds. This is a recipe for greatness.
Yeah.
But the thing is just that.
And the trailer.
The first trailer.
Yeah.
Because there's like.
Fire, probably one of the most fire trailers I've seen.
The first 28 Years Later trailer is fucking goated. I thought it was awesome. It set the tone, the ambiance, the eeriness,
man.
and I was like, dude, that's one of the other reasons I was there for it, bro. Because the trailer was fucking fire. And I don't hate this movie. I liked it a lot. I think I'm just left bittersweet.
Yeah.
Because even though I walked away from this movie going, I liked it, it was good, I didn't want it to be good. I wanted it to be great. I wanted it to be fire. I wanted it to be my my movie of the year contender.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't know if it's even going to crack number 10.
Damn.
So, to be honest, I think I'm settling on an 8.
Oh damn, I was wrong. Fuck.
What'd you think?
Oh,
I thought I was gonna give it a 7.
Oh, a 7?
I gotta change it.
Like, it's great.
Yeah.
But, like, I wanted to be more. And
than that.
we're only halfway through the year. Who knows? Maybe.
Exactly.
We still have Fantastic Four. We still have Superman.
Those two are gonna be in the top 10. Come on now, girl.
I hope.
What if it flops?
No, that'd be crazy. No,
No, yeah, that's actually crazy. I would
okay,
actually
I'm telling you
crash
right
out
now,
more.
if Superman is not at least an 8, no, fuck that. At least a 9. If Superman is not at least a 9, I'm quitting the pod, bro. I'm quitting the pod, bro. I'm retiring. I'm done. There's no hope for me.
That's actually
There's no hope for me.
There's nothing. There's nothing left.
I'm never gonna get a good DC universe.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's the frustration, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
nah,
bro.
man, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
You can't fuck this
Yeah,
up.
I'm the same way. For me,
I'm joking, by the way,
it better be a minimum 9 out of 10. Like it has to be a minimum 9 out of 10.
Minimum 9, bro.
Yeah.
You know
I was
what
just kind of giving it like, I was just kind of like saying like we're halfway through the year.
Yeah.
We still have plenty of fucking movies to come out in the next 6 months. So there's a chance that if better movies come out later in the year, there's a chance 28 years later might not even crack the top 10. If it does, because the rest of the year ends up being dull, whatever.
I mean, we've
then,
only
okay.
given 2 films a 10.
Well, only him one, I think.
Only
you and I,
one.
yeah, you and I
Two,
gave
yeah.
2 10s this year so far. No,
Well, you know what?
what?
This is pretty obvious. Never mind.
What?
I was just gonna say, I think I liked Warfare more than this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you see,
Yeah. No, what I was gonna say is I think that feeling of disappointment that we're having right now, it reminds me of how we felt with Mickey 17.
Bro.
Yeah.
Actually.
You know?
Actually,
We're really looking forward to Mickey 17.
Yeah.
And like it was really
particularly because of how fire Parasite was.
yeah.
I finally saw it.
Did you?
Oh yeah,
What'd
did
you
you
think?
see it?
It's fire. I saw it on the plane right to Japan.
Now that's a 10, bro.
Yeah. Now you see what we meant when
that
we
shit
said
was
we had
fire.
expectations.
There was
for
one
the-
scene in that movie, bro, where I was like, oh, god damn it, really has to do this? I'm on an airplane. You know what I'm talking about? It gets a bit sexual between the parents that actually own the home.
Oh, yeah.
does it? I don't remember
It
that
does, and I'm just like, whoa. I'm like, dude, I'm on a fucking airplane, bro. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, bro. They
That
really
was
gotta
weird.
fix that shit.
I hate that.
TVs
bro.
on seats, bro, and the flight attendant, she bad as hell, looking at me like I'm a weirdo.
Yeah, bro.
You like hentai, huh? That's Mario.
I'm like, these are
That's
real.
why you go to Japan?
These are real
You like
people,
hentai?
though. Hell no.
It's like, oh, you're watching hentai? It's like not every anime is hentai, bitch. This is Dragon Ball. This is Dragon Ball.
This is how I fell in love with my teacher.
Hell no. That's
Get this
fucking
right.
funny.
That's what the anime is called.
It's Chainsaw
This is-
Man.
No, you don't get the joke. I said.
No, I know that's
Oh,
a real
okay.
anime. I know it's like a high school drama, right?
No, I just made it up right now.
No, he made it up.
I just made that name up. But
What'd you say?
I said how I fell in love with my teacher.
Oh yeah, I did hear that. I was like, I thought you said
I just
something
made that
here.
title up,
that
but
was real.
no.
No.
But it's a joke, and like
Yeah.
how when Mario be watching how like
It's
middle
always high
schoolers,
school.
high schoolers
Fucking-
be falling in love with their adult like fucking teacher.
Dude, it should be so
crazy.
funny, bro.
Hey, let me
It'd be
Persona,
so
I'm on
funny.
Persona 3 right now. No, was it Persona 4? No, which was it with the
Persona
baddies?
3 What?
You said with the the game with the like let me riz up this baddie real quick. Is it Persona 3?
You're talking about fucking
Reloaded.
Expedition?
No,
No,
bro,
you
Persona.
fucker. You fucker.
But I said that in Expedition too.
No, now he's being dumb right now.
Are you talking about?
I think it was a Persona game, probably Reload.
Yeah,
You're like, I'm
the
gonna
most
riz up this
recent one
baddie,
you-
and you're a high schooler, bro.
Oh, yeah. I was probably being stupid. Yeah, it probably was
So,
Persona. Yeah.
Nah, Mario, come on, man. Anyway. But anyway, that's the joke that I'm just bringing up.
I got you.
How I fell in love with my
that's
teacher.
That's every Persona, bro. It's one of the things I hate about it.
It's every anime,
but it's
bro.
a good game.
No, I'm playing.
No, no. You're not. Well, it's not every anime, but it's majority a lot like that, bro. Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
fucking look at Chainsaw Man, bro.
You be watching what's that? This is not. Never mind.
Oh my god.
What's that thing? There's
What?
a word that I learned recently, but I think like a month ago. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then my friends explained it to me. I'm like, yo, that's fucking weird.
What
And it has to do with like an anime.
genre?
Yeah, like it has to do with like what is it called? All I know, it's like rated R, like explicit for sure, bro.
Yeah.
And I was gonna
is
make a
it?
joke, but maybe
Wait,
we
what's the
should try.
genre? Nah, I want to.
Like I said, it has to do with like anime or some shit.
Yeah, bro. He's got to look it up later. Tell him.
this
You
motherfucker.
freak? Nah, bro.
Hell no.
No, it relates to the bite of 23.
Oh, what? I don't know what that means.
Oh, that's fucked, bro.
Oh, the joke I made there.
Yeah, the bite of 23. Go check that. Go listen to the Five Nights at Freddy's review, guys. If you want
I
to
don't
know what the
genre
bite of
he's
23
referring
is.
to. I'm gonna be honest with you.
It has to do with that. That joke of the bite of 23 involves that. But it's like a genre, I guess, and people are like, "Yo, what the fuck? If you like this, you're a weirdo, bro." Now, which I agree.
Which,
I didn't know what it was.
If the genre you're what the fuck you're referring to, yeah, I don't watch that.
Sure, you do, bitch.
No, hell no, no, I don't watch
What is
that.
it called? Fuck. Whatever.
Yeah.
Moving on. Where we
I'm
at?
trying to think of the name of the genre because I've heard the name too, but it's one of these once you
It's
hear
not
the
a
name,
genre of an anime. It's something that like people. It's like, oh, this is this. Like it's this, and and when you look into what it is,
No,
you're like,
I've
it's
heard
fucking
that
weird.
name, because
and then
what
they do excuses like, "Hey, bro, but in the anime, she 18 though, but she don't look 18." Dog.
then yeah, this is that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Oh.
Jose, my friend Jose told me about it, but he wouldn't tell me the name either. He's like, it's one of the things, bro. Where like, I'm not gonna tell you the name because that's how fucked up it is. But I know about it, and I'm like, what? What are you talking
The
about?
reason why I
Jose?
found out, I know we're on a tangent. Guys,
Yeah, we're on a
right?
tangent.
We're
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we're spilling tea.
Yeah.
It's because I think there's a YouTuber that was like accused of that, and I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, I was talking with my friends on
Yeah,
Discord.
I know what genre you're talking
I was
about.
talking to my
but
friends
I
on
forgot the
Discord. I'm
name
like,
of
yo,
it.
guys, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, that shit's
And
weird.
they're
bro.
like, oh, it's this and this. I'm like, yo, that's fucking wild. Anyways,
Yeah.
the point is, I wanted to make that joke with Mario.
yeah, thank God you didn't, bro. That's fucked up.
what you be doing.
That's a fucked up joke.
No, but that's what you do.
Hell no. Hell no.
It's weird, but you do it.
You freaky ass motherfucker. You freaky ass motherfucker. That's what you be doing.
Hell no. You do it with men.
It doesn't make sense. I don't want to say it on the pod, but like people who are listening, if you know, you know.
You know, yeah. It's one of these.
I'll tell you how. I'll tell you
in
what.
the, I'm pretty sure in the community, It's one of these where like you don't tell people the name. That's how fucked up it is.
It's like it's like what's that girl's is it Demon Slayer, the girl with the mouth thing?
Yeah, I forgot
She's
the
like
name.
green.
Yeah, I know what
She's
you're talking
biting
about.
a green bamboo stick.
Nezuko, I think is her name.
Okay, so I've never seen it. Isn't she like, how old is she?
I think like I know she's
a kid. Bro.
She's younger
Point
than
is, she's a
Tanjiro.
kid,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
In the anime, and
Yeah.
what people do is like I've seen like body pillows, like they shit like that.
Yo, yeah, that's fucking wild.
It's that type of shit. Like how
I'll
we shaking
never
his
do
head.
that. That's wild.
It's shit like that. And I guess that word means that. And I'm like, yo, that's fucking weird. But then people defend it saying, yo, bro, in the lore, she's not a kid though. But she looks like it, motherfucker. It's like, no, but still though.
No,
The
she's a kid in the lore.
well, I don't know. I'm just saying overall, like the overall umbrella of what we're talking about, not particularly that.
I was
character.
like, no, she's a
Point
kid.
is, you a
Yeah.
weirdo, you freaky ass motherfucker. Point is, you risen up.
This motherfucker's a bitch. He's making me out to be something I'm not. He's
Hey
a
man,
bitch.
I don't know what you are, bro. You're a beast, bro. What you mean?
Then I can do the same shit to you.
We got.
He's a beast.
What was that joke? A predator versus
Alien.
Alien versus Predator.
Alien
We would make it between me and well, I don't want to say.
Oh
it.
no!
I'm
Yeah,
not-
no,
I don't-
okay, move on. Let's move on. What are we doing here? Okay,
That's funny.
let's move on.
I didn't want to say that. You know what? I probably
All
shouldn't
right,
say
you,
that.
okay, you gave you ready? You ready?
Yes, bro.
Okay, but all right, guys.
This is spoiler section.
I'm so,
now.
holy fuck. This was a topic for the spoiler section.
Yeah.
Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're just fucking around.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we do that, low key. Anyway, that's gonna be for the the non-spoiler section for 28 years later. We're gonna dive into the spoiler section to talk about the things that in more depth on the things that we didn't like and discuss how the world has really changed in 28 years. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We're gonna be diving into the spoiler section in 3, 2, 1.
How the
Okay.
fuck? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We are now in the spoiler section for 28 years later. All right, we're good.
How the fuck are there iPhones in this world?
Hey man, that shit crazy word. Low key.
Was that one of the things you were thinking of?
iPhone.
I'm a real no. I just thought it was like a phone.
Wait. So when does
But-
what year is it when the last movie takes place?
Yeah. What was the year?
28 weeks after the first one, so 2003, something like that.
Well, if it's 28, then it makes
2002,
sense.
probably.
So then it makes sense because it's 28 years later.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This is
Okay.
what I meant when I said that after the movie, I had to look this up
Yeah.
to get my answer. And I got my answer, but I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And that is that apparently, and I don't know, maybe I'm fucking stupid. Maybe you guys caught it and I didn't. But
Okay.
dude, I had no idea the fucking rage virus was isolated to only England.
No, he said this to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he said this to
bro.
me. Yeah.
Dude, no.
Don't you remember in 28 days? Don't you remember? There's a scene.
Where he saw a plane.
Yeah, and he's saying like these guys think the world's ending, but they don't understand that the world's is moving around us. Like it's just us that we're quarantined. That's what. Yeah, they explain it in the first movie, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck, bro.
And I think in the 28 weeks later they explain that too, where it's
Yeah.
only that section that's in quarantine and everywhere else is fine. So so in 28 years later we get more info that it's just that area. Everywhere else in the world is fine. That's why I remember when they were going on that adventure, the mother saw like that. I don't know if she was looking at the angel, but I think in the sky you saw like a plane or something. Wasn't it a plane or something?
It was a plane. Yeah, it was a plane.
So yeah, that's what's interesting. It's like, oh shit. So you didn't know that?
No, dude.
Oh wow.
I thought it was the end of the world.
glaringly tell you.
Yeah, the first movie.
I thought it was like legit the end of the world, like Walking Dead, where it's everywhere. So I'm like, how is there iPhones in this
Before-
world that work?
bro.
Oh, that makes sense.
And I'm like, wait, how is there a
How does this guy have guns and bullets?
Yes.
And crazy gear.
yeah? I'm like, how is there a military? I was
you
so
got funny.
confused. I was so confused.
That makes sense.
I thought that before I saw the movies. That's what I thought about them. I was like, oh, the whole world.
Oh yeah, for sure. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But then they explain it.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it's just us. We're quarantined in this area. And then so in 28 weeks, it just spread into the broader mainland instead of
Gotcha.
that area. But yeah, the rest of the world is chilling, bro. That's why the dude was like, "Oh, you don't know what online is. Oh, you don't know what a delivery driver is." And he said in the movie, the guy that we run into, that Navy guy, that if you set foot in that mainland, there's no rescue. Like you're not coming back. Like that bitch is completely sealed off, quarantine, and like they're all. In the beginning of the movie, he says they're off to fend for themselves.
Right.
So I think that's what makes the world more interesting. That's more unique of the zombie apocalypse.
And is
in my
that
opinion.
why the people on the island are there and not somewhere else in the world? Because there's no rescue.
There's no rescue coming.
That's crazy, bro.
They're stuck there, bro.
What'd you think? I don't know.
You're a bitch.
Wait, hold on. Did you just think that they're just chilling there, like? Just
No, because like it's like The Walking
I
Dead.
get what you're saying.
I thought it'd be like The Walking Dead,
were-
where if it was the end of the world,
I get, and there's
in
no
a
one
world
else,
where there's no cell phones, no computers, no military,
okay.
that they would just kind of, and in
Go
a
there,
world
yeah.
where the virus has taken over the world
what you're talking
in
about.
nearly 3 decades, humans, the survivors of what's left of them, have to adapt in any way. So they would be on some Walking Dead shit where they would make their own communities,
I got
and
you.
like this was just one community that was smart about it. They played it
I
safe and
gotcha,
said,
yeah.
we're surrounded by water, high tide, low tide, little land bridge that connects us to the mainland. That's how they don't get to us. Type
gotcha.
shit. And when I heard that, when I saw the trailer and I saw Ralph Fiennes in his character, like he's the bald dude with the paint on him and shit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's gonna be from another community within this world, and like it's gonna be a tribe. Because then you get that shot of the fucking skeleton
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for
monument
sure.
and shit, and I'm
For
like,
sure.
oh, that's gonna be like a tribe or something. Because I can imagine if this ended the world in 28 years, that they would have had
formed
to,
their own government, form their own communities.
adapt in their own ways and stuff like that. So that's why when the dude pulled up a smartphone, I'm like,
and our rifles and stuff. You're like, what the fuck?
I was like, wow. And when I saw the military, I swear, I was like, oh, this is a flashback. I was like, this is a flashback to like 28 years ago.
yeah. Oh,
You see what I mean?
That's funny.
And when he pulled out the smartphone, when I was like, that's an iPhone X, bro.
That's
Like,
a minus.
10.
Well, minus a point. Unrealistic.
I was like, that's
Be
an
honest,
iPhone
wait,
10. And,
wait, hold
and
up.
I was like, no way, is this product placement? Because this bitch was filled with iPhones.
wait, that
What?
is when
What?
when the guy pulled out the phone, did that like Laura like a score for you?
or what? Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it
because at this
definitely-
point he's thinking this, so I'm
it
like,
definitely confused me. I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like,
Oh, wow.
no way. Just like when a virus busts out
I
worldwide,
wish I was next to him so I could see
Steve
his
Jobs
face.
still had the audacity to
bust
revolutionize the mobile phone space.
No, I think
What the hell?
I
Like,
think what's kind of funny.
Macworld 2007 happened in this world.
I just think, Mario, what's kind of funny is that they explain it in both movies.
Yeah, they do.
They explain it in both movies.
Like
bro.
I vividly remember seeing a map where they circle,
Yeah, bro.
and showcasing
quarantined.
that it's just England.
In the first
and that,
movie?
yeah, in the first one and second one.
I remember the second one. In the second movie,
second
in
movie.
weeks, I remember there was exterior shots of just different places in London. And I imagine, like, I guess my thought was because it took place in London, we're seeing shots of London, like that big Ferris wheel thing, and
Yeah.
like the
No, but
downtown.
I believe in the beginning, the text, you know how it explains everything? Oh, this and happened. I believe
Yeah.
they explain it in the
That
text.
I believe so
as well.
too.
I
Yeah,
don't remember the text.
Damn.
I'm pretty sure they
To
do.
be
in
fair,
that
we
tab.
were eating, so you
Yeah.
probably didn't look or some shit. I don't know.
I just could have sworn, bro, it was
I know what you
worldwide.
mean, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's funny. It's funny how he like made it make sense in his head.
Yeah. This whole movie, he's figuring out. Like,
Yeah.
how's there an iPhone, bro?
Yeah,
Bro, the whole movie's like,
That's
man,
why I was
bro.
like, what?
He's like the whole movie, man. This shit's a fucking 6 out of 10, bro. Like this.
Unrealistic.
Yeah,
No,
unrealistic.
this is like a
Product placement.
No, this is like that moment that we had with the Pope's Exorcist with the blood vial.
Oh yeah, yo, yes.
Jesus Christ,
How
like,
you felt? That's how we felt
that's how
for
we
that.
felt like, what the fuck's
That's the blood of Jesus Christ. Are you for real right now?
the gates of hell were open.
I was like, how dare you for the product placement? Who do you think you are?
No, part of me was like, is this really product placement? Because this bitch was filled with iPhones.
Y'all shills right now? Really?
Because otherwise, this is breaking the canon. Like, how the hell? How the hell do we have smartphones in this world? It's been 28 years.
Oh, is that what you? Okay, so in the non-spoiler section, is that what you brought up? Where you said I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, my shit's completely different. We can get into that next if you want.
All right,
We
I
good?
want to hear it. Maybe I agree. But that was
So-
the one thing where I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. I
Yeah,
guess.
that makes
That's actually
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's interesting then, because I would have liked, like, damn. So you mean to tell me, like, in the world of 28 of the 28 series, like we could never focus on another part of the world that might fall to this virus? Like, are we always going to have installments in this franchise that just take place in London? Like, imagine if it took place in the United States.
That'd be cool.
Dude, 28 weeks later, literally hinted, like the last shot of the movie before roll credits, hinted that the virus got to Paris. But like, there's no mention of Paris or anything in this movie.
And that's something that bugged me. And now we're in spoiler section, thank God. We stray away for whatever happened in 28 weeks, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last shot was Paris. I was like, okay, that's gone. Like, but I think they broke the canon there. No?
I think so, because I'm just like, wait, what happened in Paris? Because Paris...
Because in 28 weeks, wasn't it just that area? Like, it wasn't Paris. Was Paris included there?
To be fair, we're going to look like stupid Americans. I don't know the geography, if I'm being honest, or how big the circle was.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest.
You're right, guys.
So the circle
we're
might be...
stupid Americans.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I know they're nearby it, but I'm like, wait, did it cross Paris though?
Okay, but whatever. They don't explore that, and another thing too that they don't explore, which I thought was like, whoa, this is a big deal in the 28 universe.
I think I know where you're going, and I don't get it either.
And
I think we're cousins.
And it's the kid being like immune to the virus. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh no, I wasn't thinking of that.
Oh, what are you thinking of? Yeah, we're not cousins. What are you thinking of?
Bro, what the fuck is an alpha?
Oh! I got you. Okay, no, yeah. The reason why I'm not thinking of that is because that's a different topic.
We're still on 28 weeks later.
No, we're on these but these things being unanswered.
Right.
That's where we're at.
On 28 weeks later.
Yeah.
On 28. No, the alpha situation. That's a whole different thing. Part of 28 years later.
Yeah,
We'll get to that in a bit because I know you said like, what the fuck's going on with that? We'll explain that in a bit because I think I think I understand what happened. I'm talking about like we abandoned the storyline of this boy being immune to the virus.
Yeah.
There's something that's very important, and we don't know the outcome of that.
Yeah.
Because remember, they left safely with that military guy, and sure enough, there had to be some other military bases so that they could, that we completely abandoned that. And I get it; it's 28 years later, but I don't know. I kind of wish that it's almost like they said, "Fuck this movie. This movie's not part of our shit." Like I'm only 28 days later.
Probably
is
because on like
they
that,
worked on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a pick and choose thing.
Exactly.
It's like if I didn't make it, bro, it's not canon. Like what James Gunn did with the DC universe.
But that final shot, in was it 28 days, right? With the Paris, that was badass. Weeks. That was badass.
Yeah.
I like that. That was so sick. Like, whoa, they're here.
And at the time,
so cool.
Obviously when it first came out, it hinted like, oh, the next movie would be in Paris now or something.
Yeah.
But now because it was such a long hiatus, like you said earlier, like it took so long for the movie to actually get greenlit and actually get off the ground that like when they decided to push it from months to years later,
They just abandoned that, yeah.
I guess they're gonna abandon that storyline. Like, yeah, I agree. There's a lot of things that they don't bring up from Weeks that
for sure.
I think should have been mentioned.
Like, I like the direction that they're going with here. Like, I think it's interesting, but I think it would have been so cool to see the entire world crumble. You know what I mean? I think that would have been really cool.
Right.
But okay, you brought up the alpha. Let's talk about that. So the tagline for the 28 universe right now, or like this movie, it's like, 28 days it began, 28 weeks it spread, 28 years it evolved. So the alpha, I just think it's an evolved infected, bro. They're evolving. It's been 28 years.
Right.
So it's kind of like the infected in The Last of Us. The longer you're infected, the more you're evolving.
You evolve.
And I think that's what happened here. I think the alpha is just like this new evolved infected.
Right.
That is almost like the leader of the pack of the zombies that be running fast.
Yeah.
And he's the leader, and he's the one that I guess feeds them, or he's more smart.
Yeah.
We clearly saw him moving differently.
Yes.
In the movie. So I think that's just what it is, to be honest, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I got from it.
Yeah.
When I was like, okay, so he's the alpha, like the infected listened to him. But my thing is like, it never gets explained where this alpha comes from or how they get made, or like, I don't get where this came from. Like, the infected are mindless monsters. Like, how do they follow direction? What the hell?
They're revolving, girl.
And it's like, and I wish the movie would have done a better job at explaining that. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing where like if there's going to be text on the screen, couldn't it maybe have mentioned like, oh, the virus has evolved to where like now they mutate into different things. Like now the ones who have been infected the longest type shit. Like maybe some sort of, or like now we're in the spoiler section. When Spike and his mom finally meet up with the doctor, Ralphie and his character, maybe because he's been living in the mainland for his whole life. He probably would have like explained.
That's what I was expecting, bro.
Nothing.
Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
I was expecting this guy was gonna explain the rundown, like, oh yeah, I've seen these guys moving this and this, and like I was explaining some type. I was expecting some type of explanation.
Yes,
but we didn't get that.
No. And I was like, so I was left with questions, more questions than I did answers, bro.
That's true, but it's so what? Okay, what did you guys think of the overall evolution? Because we see we see this alpha guy. It was the same dude that chased them in the beginning,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Was it the same dude or not?
Well, I don't know because that dude looked like he died. He took a flaming spear to the chest.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think-
at first I took it like it was a different alpha, like it's just a different one, not the same guy. Because they would have seen him got up or some shit. Like he had an arrow through their heart, and it was like a huge ass shit.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's why I took it. Oh, this might be a different one. And I believe the kid in the movie, he said, "Oh shit, an alpha." Like he didn't say the alpha.
The alpha.
Did he say the alpha?
No, I know what you. No.
He said it like if it was a different one.
Another one.
Yeah, like another one.
An alpha. Yeah. I get what you mean.
So I'm thinking, oh shit, this is okay. This is a different one. There's multiple. Interesting. So let's start with the alpha. What did y'all think of the alpha, man?
I wish there was a better explanation, bro. I don't mind like if it's going to be one of those things where like the virus evolved and like now, you know, and this is something I never fucking knew. What the hell? Pregnant infected?
No, yeah, this is part of the evolution, bro.
Yeah.
This is new. This is new.
Yeah.
We've never seen this before. This is part of the evolution.
That's what I'm saying.
They're out here breeding, bro.
And it's like
What?
exactly. And my thing is like, bro,
That's crazy.
Is that even something that they're capable of doing when they're mindless, soulless monsters, like the dude said? Like, what's it called? Aaron Taylor Johnson says, like, oh, when they're infected, like they don't have no mind, and when they have no mind, they have no soul. I take that as like they're just mindless monsters. Like, you shouldn't treat them as people because they're just monsters. Like, they're gonna out to kill you. It's kill or be killed. So you mean to tell me that these monsters that I've seen for 3 movies now rage out and go crazy and eat anything in their sight and go fucking wild have the intelligence to breed and create more of them? And, you know, it's like, what the hell? And on top of that, again, to the topic that they don't bring shit up from weeks later, we know that the infected are prone to dying of starvation.
Yeah.
So if it's been 28 years later, how have the infected stayed this long alive?
Well, we saw some scenes of them eating animals
and worms and shit like that. But I don't know, man. Don't you feel like eventually they'd run out of those? If it's been nearly 3 decades?
Well, the
I
animals
mean, we've been humanity's been on this planet for how many years?
I would say like
millions of
the
years.
animals always just reproduce.
And we're still here. We're still kicking.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's just how.
No,
that's how it is.
What's it called? I Google. You know that thing where like it brought you guys to like circle back to your Paris point. And
Well, okay,
shit?
wait, before we actually, before we get into that, I want to touch on something that I have mentioned real quick.
What is that?
Because he mentioned like how the zombies they're soulless or whatever. I think that was there on purpose to create an actual discussion and to
Yeah.
maybe open your mind, because he says that in the beginning of the movie. So he's trying to make the audience believe that, and then he makes you want to question everything, because we get that scene with the pregnant woman. She's an infected, but she's pregnant. Like, yo, what the fuck? Number one, that's okay. Clearly, it's not mindless.
Yeah.
And number two, the mom was like relating with her.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like a human. It was a human interaction. So that was there, I think, on purpose to set that scene in your mind and be like, huh, there's more to this than just
Not
a
only that,
virus.
after she dies, whatever the fuck.
That's when she went crazy.
She,
Like,
no, I'm talking about like the mom. After like she dies, I'm assuming the alpha was the fucking dad because of how he reacted to the body.
Oh,
yeah,
to the body,
yeah.
And that just shows to me. I'm just like, huh?
They have emotions. So
yeah,
they're
I'm
not
like,
mindless
I'm
monsters.
like, this guy's sad that I'm assuming that's the girl he got pregnant died, and if the baby's not there,
and then that's why he's chasing the kid, because he has his baby.
yeah.
So it's just, I think it's just to leave you to think and like, whoa, what the fuck's going on?
I
Like
just-
a what the fuck moment, like what?
Yeah.
Which it was.
I just wish I would have had my answer.
No, I know what you mean.
You know what
For
I mean?
sure.
Like a lot of like when a movie has to make me speculate
I know what you mean.
at
But
certain points, like, and I could buy like little things, like if I have to like get over, if I have to make a mental gymnastic of like
Yeah.
getting over one plot point, because if this didn't happen, we wouldn't have a movie.
yeah.
The plot wouldn't drive forward. Then I'd get it. But when you're in a broader scheme where now we're talking about an actual, like, something that's way too big to look away,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. For me, it's like, damn, if we're not going to get the answer here, are they ever going to touch on it? And if the argument is, well, we're getting a sequel literally in not even a year, it's coming out, the sequel to this, but the Bone Temple is coming out like 2026.
All right.
If we're getting a sequel, will it be explained there? Now,
I
my
think
thing,
so.
my argument is, well, that would just make this movie feel like setup.
Yeah.
Instead of standing alone as its own movie. And I hate when movies feel like
Yeah.
setup to the next
or
one.
like homework.
Yeah.
Kind of like homework.
Like, I wish, like, you mean to tell me in the time that Spike and his mom spent with this dude, doctor, whatever, the doctor, I'll just call him,
Yeah.
and he spent all this time in the mainland by himself, you could pretty much make the assumption that he's adapted to living on the mainland in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He doesn't look like a normal person. Dude covers himself in chemicals and shit.
was,
iodine or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
And he like creates darts and shit that like can sleep the
Zombie.
It was
standing
morphine or
up,
some
like-
shit like that. They
Ex-
like
yeah,
it or
like
some
to like, you know, for someone who apparently knows a lot about the mainland, I'm surprised there wasn't a scene around that campfire where he would explain more about the mainland, especially when they've been so isolated from the mainland, they don't know what the fuck's going on, that they would get an explanation of how it works. And it's one of those things to me where it's like at the end of the movie, after Spike's mom dies, and he decides to, I guess, stay in the mainland. He goes and delivers the newborn baby to the community and then just decides to stay in the mainland. It's like, how can you be so confident to know how to live in this world when you've only been here twice? You've only visited twice, and now you decided you're going to stay, but you don't even know how the world works. Like, there wasn't even a scene where the doctor tells him, like, well, in the infected, like, there's different variants. There's this one. There's these, the fat ones. Like, why are those fat?
Yeah.
Like, why do they always crawl on the ground and shit like that? How does the alpha come into play? How does those happen? You know what I mean? Like, where did it come about that they could breed? Like, one of those things where it's like, well, it's been 28 years later. It's an evolution. I get it. And it's like, it just feels like that's too safe.
I know what you mean.
I would have liked for an actual definitive answer in dialogue or text on a screen or something. Like, if the world around England still is moving, like you guys have said, then at least something should have told us. Like, I don't know, like have the movie have glimpses of like the news reporters from other places of the world, like Mexico, United States.
It's been
to,
28
like,
years, man. They just accepted that, hey, this is no longer our territory.
right.
Yeah.
But you know how like I just would have been cool if it did that thing like 28 weeks later did. I like the way 28 weeks later did because it says 28 days later or day one the infection the virus outbreak happened.
Yeah.
Then like 28 days later this happened, and then 2 weeks later this happened, and then 14 weeks later, and then finally 28 weeks later that's where we're here. I would have liked for the movie to
I
go
get
like
what you're
that,
saying.
where it's like a year later we're here. 10 years later this happened, 15 years later this happened, and like it would have done like those things like what Weeks did, and then finally 28 years later now we're here, but now you got the background of what happened in that gap.
I'm trying to remember, did we get that? Mark,
It
do you
was
remember?
just text on a screen that just said like basic, like, you know, London was left to defend themselves or something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and but nothing about how I can't remember if there was any mention of an evolution in the virus or how
No.
they adapted to grow.
The only
more
evolution we
intelligence.
got in the second movie was the cure thing. That was the only evolution we got because that mom was immune to it and the son.
That's true.
That's
like
it.
she was still infected. Like she was just a carrier.
Yeah.
Like I guess that exists. That you can still be infected but still act human. So maybe they had like some type of a variation of that.
And that also leads to the baby.
I don't know, man.
Like, is
And-
the baby
yeah,
normal?
Let's talk
or-
about that. The baby looked fine.
Yeah.
So that's the weird part.
What the? What?
I don't know, man.
Because if your blood's infected, you're infected. If you obviously have a baby, you're obviously sharing the same blood. So that would mean the baby's infected. But it's not. So I think it's all set up, bro, because I think they're trying to do the trilogy, and maybe throughout the trilogy they're gonna explain all of that. And whether they execute that or not, like, we'll see.
Yeah.
Is there
But I think
supposed to
that's
be a time skip from this movie and the second one?
No, it's gonna no, it's confirmed. The second
right after,
movie
right?
is gonna take place right after the first one.
Bro, they're gonna do some lore dump in the second one, bro.
That's what I'm saying, and I hate when movies feel like setup to another movie. Like,
Yeah.
it shouldn't have to feel like setup or homework. It should stand alone as its own movie. And then the second movie comes in, and you have more answers to the world. But the first
Yeah.
one still can stand on its own. It can't be one of those things where it's like, can I recommend 28 Years Later? It's like, well, you should probably watch 20. It's like, can you recommend Infinity War? It ends in a cliffhanger. You're better off binging that and Endgame because they go together. Otherwise, if you just stop at Infinity War, you left with that cliffhanger. It felt like setup, and you're just like, I don't know what happens next, type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, but at least Infinity War has the one up of standing on its own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas this one, I'm left with more questions than answers.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? I didn't leave with questions with Infinity War other than, damn, that's how the movie ends. You know what I mean? With the cliffhanger. This movie, I'm just like, I wanted to know more about what happened in these 28 years, and I didn't get that.
Yeah.
So,
But overall, do you like the evolution? Like, I'm thinking of it like, oh, traditional Left 4 Dead, fucking The Last of Us. It's just special infected.
No, I like it.
I like it. I think I think we're gonna see some crazy shit later
Yeah.
on, maybe.
I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if they wanted
You
to
just want it
introduce...
explained.
Yeah, that's my only
That's-
thing.
yeah, I
I
got
wanted
you.
it to be, like, explained. Like, even in The Last of Us, when you play the game and you're like, what the hell is that? Oh, that's a bloater. And that's what happens to you when you stay infected for too long. Even just a line of dialogue that it tells the audience, like, what they need to know. Oh, okay, bet. Something like that
Like,
could have been explained.
do you remember? I forget what they're called, but it's like the first infected that we see. That's like that's evolved, and it's like the fat ones crawling and shit. The dad named it something. I forgot what, and didn't he explain like how that came to be? Like, oh, this is what they do. Blah blah blah. I forgot, but I'm curious because there was then a child version.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that? There was a child version, and then the dad wasn't gonna kill it because it's like, oh, it's a child, but it's what the fuck, bitch. Like,
And then child
follow your own
did,
words,
fuck
bitch. I
off.
thought like they got no soul, whatever the fuck, you know. But like I said, I think it's just create that discussion, like, what the fuck is going on? So does that mean that infected baby is also gonna become infected as they grow older? Because that happens like I know this. I'm bringing real life, but in real life, that's how it works. Like, as we get older, our genetics change.
Right.
Like, some people develop like allergies. We found that out. Remember that? We find out people develop allergies, or your hair color changes and shit like that. So what if, as they get older, they kind of evolve to what they're supposed to be, and maybe that's what causes that village to, like, their downfall, because they have that baby or something, and they infect one person. Then I don't know. That's just some speculation there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because there was that baby, that fat baby thing, and it ran away, like it was scared, and it makes you think, what the fuck is going on? Like, so they're not mindless at all. Like, they have some type of like cognitive ability. So it's just interesting, man. And I know what you're saying, though. It does feel like setup when it comes to that, for sure. It definitely does. I guess, yeah, you're right, man. I guess okay, moving forward, before we actually move into the part where I was like, I don't know, I don't get this. Maybe this being artsy here, I don't really buy it. Let's see what Mario has here, because he said he looked it up about the Paris situation.
It's outside of the quarantine zone. So I don't know how but this map says it has that red shit over there, but I don't fucking know. It's confusing me.
Copenhagen.
Because
Paris.
weeks ended in Paris. But on this map, it literally says quarantine on like England. So I'm just like,
Isn't the red infected, though?
That's what I thought. Mom was like, wait, but why?
I think that's the mainland that they're referring to. No, that's too far.
Yeah.
I don't understand this. So the red is the infected, right?
It has to be. like where areas where it's infected.
Check this out. So yeah, Paris is infected, and then that's so weird. I don't know. I don't get that. But we don't see that. I guess.
I don't know.
Maybe it's well. It did say
Because
that
like
it's
you're
spread.
Yeah, it spread, but I'm just like, then where was it in this film? Because that was a good point. I was like, what the fuck happened?
You know
to
what?
Paris?
I think okay. So in 28 weeks, when it went to Paris, I think from there it just spread. Because in the movie it says in 28, or I think the marketing 28 weeks it spread. So I think when they got to Paris, it spread into all of that. And I think all of that was they managed to quarantine. It's been 28 years that we just didn't see that happen.
Okay.
So if they ever decide,
they quarantined it in just Paris.
No, that entire red thing, bro. That's Paris. It's Paris. And like
that confuses me is that Paris monitors like the Navy. Remember, those soldiers are from France or some shit like that. I forgot what he said.
What was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
remember,
that guy, that soldier guy that we meet.
Not that guy. I think he's from Switzerland, some shit. But he said
Sweden. He said Sweden.
Yeah, but he said like that France, the America, and some other country. They all like monitor. They all what's the word I'm looking for? They all protect like from it spreading or some shit like that. So I'm just like,
I don't know, bro.
Like, cause if it was infected, I'm like, shouldn't Paris have fallen as like not a country, but like the government?
What could you make of that? What you saw of
The map said 28 days later.
Only
28 days?
On the picture, on the top corner, it said days later.
Oh, really?
So I think it's showing us the map from the first movie.
But Paris is still there, though. You know.
I know,
and like everywhere else.
But the dotted circular line was around England, and it said quarantine.
Oh, so what does the red mean then?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
That's so confusing. We need to pull up maps.
I'm trying to, because I
pull up a desk and shit. Start like
I know
because I googled how far is the infection in 28 years later. That's what I googled,
but it showed you that map.
Yeah, but that map is for days. Like there's literally no map.
Yeah, I was right. Right in the top corner, bro. It said 28 days later.
Okay.
So I'm like, this is showing me from the first movie, but I'm trying to find out what happened in the third one.
I don't know. That's just weird. Okay, so the part of the movie,
or you said it was too artsy.
Where I don't know if I was buying. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here?
Okay.
So we have this character. We have the kid, right? We have the child character. We find out that his mother is like sick of some kind. Like she's like hallucinating, has these weird symptoms.
Yes.
And we find out that when they went to the mainland for training, there's this like fire going out, and he tries explaining it. He asks his dad, "Hey, what is that?" And later we find out that there was this doctor that was part of the community, decided to move to the mainland or something, and he started burning people's bodies, like dead bodies. He's like a weirdo or whatever. And then he said, "Yeah, I'm never going back." The boy's like, "He's a doctor, you say? Well, let's go. Let's go see what's wrong with my mom. Is she dying or what? Whatever." So that's their mission, right? The boy wants to see if the doctor could help his mother. So we go there. Now we're on this adventure journey. We meet the doctor. The doctor is like a very spiritual type of guy.
I got it.
Oh shit!
I got it. All right.
Let's see
okay,
what's going
so
on.
the initial outbreak and spread. Shout out to Google AI.
Okay.
All right. The rage virus quickly ravaged the UK following its initial release in 28 days later. Second outbreak in Europe, and 28 weeks later ended with the infection seemingly spreading to the mainland Europe, specifically Paris. All right. Containment to the UK. However, in 28 years later, retcons is revealing that Europe was able to successfully fight off the infection and contain it, effectively quarantining the UK. So they fought it off in Paris. They retconned it, bro.
They're like, no, this didn't happen. We did it. Like, we're good.
Yeah.
Like they're
How do you do that though, bro? How do you contain that? I guess bombing. I mean, they did it before. Bombings and shit. All right, whatever. Whatever. You know.
The UK became an unconditional isolation zone with NATO ships patrolling the surrounding waters and a no-fly zone established, which is weird because I thought we saw planes. Or maybe that could have been far off. We didn't know if they were above it or not.
Or maybe it was a cloud. I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
Whatever.
Yeah. Outside world moves on. The rest of the world has largely moved on from the rage virus crisis. Yeah.
They took it back. Oh, that was so cool though. That would have been really cool. So I guess sure. All right.
They basically just said, "Just fuck you to that director."
All right. So going back here. So we finally meet the doctor. He's like a very spiritual guy. He's like, "Oh, we have to remember that. We have to remember death." And like he's almost celebrating in a way and trying to make something with the skulls to, I guess, what is that word called? He said it in the movie. I forgot what it's called. But essentially, it's to memorialize the people that are dead. I forgot what he said. It was like some Italian or Latin word. Point is, that's what he does.
The Latin word?
Yeah, I forgot what it's called.
The remember
Yeah,
we all
something
died.
like that.
Memento mori.
That's what he does. So he goes around for people that have died or whatever, like takes their heads and burns them and like makes these this sculpture of skulls to like make
this monument.
Make this monument. Okay, cool. Other than that, I don't know why. What was the motive of him leaving the village and doing this? I don't think we get that, right? So yeah, whatever. There's more questions there. So anyway, we find out the doctor, he's an actual doctor, and says, "Hey, sorry, but your mother has cancer. Based on the symptoms it's showing, I felt her breasts and stuff. Hey, yo, pause. You know what I mean? Like, there's some lumps going on your something, whatever. You have cancer, and unfortunately, you're gonna die. I don't know when, but looks like soon." And the mother was also suspecting that. It's like, yeah, I kind of had a feeling I had cancer. I just didn't want to freak you out, and I just didn't want someone. It's different when someone else actually tells you that, and it's just like a shitty feeling. So we get this whole moment, and it's really cool. I like it. I'm digging the emotion here and stuff. The part that kind of took me off, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Is that the mother, like, after finding out she has cancer, she like willingly sacrifices herself.
Yeah.
And ends up like, she willingly like has the doctor like kill her, and like burn her head, and like gives the skull to the kid, and then the kid puts the fucking skull on top of on the monument thing.
Yeah.
That whole part, I didn't get. Did I miss something there?
No.
Why? My thing is like, okay, well, let's make the best of it, right? It's like, nah, bitch, I got cancer, bet. Might as well kill myself. No. I didn't get that part. I didn't buy that. And the kid, like, holding... Because remember, he was, like, put in a daze as well. Like, he was, like, put in the morphine to, like, calm down.
Right.
But I felt like if he was holding his mother's skull, you would think he'd be, like, hysterical.
Freaked out.
Yeah. But no, he was like, I love you, Mom. And, like, kissed the skull and shit and was, like, let's chilling. Chilling like a villain, bro.
Yeah.
So that part, I didn't really do it for me. It didn't really click.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that? Or what did you guys make of it? Maybe I missed something.
No.
For me, I think the reason why I didn't fuck him up when he was holding his mom's skull is
probably the
at that point. Well, maybe that, but then what I think the main thing is that accepting, but also he's already seen a lot of fucked up shit already up to that point for someone his age. But I know, as I'm saying, it's your mom though. Like, I feel like you would still react
or try to fight it. Like, try to fight him. Like, hey, what are you doing? You know
in terms of his mom just
sacrificing herself,
sacrificing himself. I think that's just her in her way. I'm not saying I agree with it. In her way, saying like, let me just save my son the pain of seeing me like that. Whereas like I'm gonna do it for him. That way, it's not as hard on him as
like a ripping the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, like let me do it before it even happens.
True, but like I feel like wouldn't it be realistic? It's like, hey, okay, we don't know when you're gonna pass. Like, let's make the most of it. Let me spend all my moments with you until it happens. I'm just trying to think of it like from a realistic perspective, like how we would do that.
Yeah.
Because if that ever happened to us, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be like, oh yeah, you know what? You found out you have cancer, just kill yourself, bro. Just sacrifice yourself, bro.
Yeah,
just get it over
I
with.
think it's just the environment and the world and the situation.
I think that's where it started getting like artsy.
Yeah.
And I see what they're trying to do. Like, I like the emotional aspect of it, but I don't know. I can't necessarily say I fully 100% like bought it. What do you think?
Oh, I agree.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
Honestly, the more that we're talking about this movie, man, I'm like, I don't know, man. What the fuck? There's actually more stuff, more, I guess, little issues.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's like, I think it would have been a much more compelling thing.
Yeah.
In the movie, if she would have stayed alive, carried over to the second movie, and maybe there's a whole different perspective of cherishing her while she's around in the second movie, because now we know she's going to die. So it leaves you with the mentality of, because obviously when you find out a character dies in a movie, that's a spoiler, right? Like if I told you, oh bro, in Superman, apparently like Guy Geithner dies. Like if I told you that, it's a spoiler. But when you're watching the movie and you find out, hey man, this person has cancer, you already have the mental of like, oh, that person's going to die.
Yeah.
Eventually. So what if like she was kept alive, maybe carried over to the second movie? We know she's gonna die eventually, but maybe it's how she dies that's the surprise. It's not that's like the thing you don't want to get spoiled. And maybe there's a scene like you mentioned where she sacrifices herself or does something for the better good to save Spike or something. And it's one of those things where it's like, damn, she knew she was gonna die. She knew she was already gonna go out eventually, so she did it in a heroic act, saved her son from something, or sacrificed herself so that her son could get away, something like that. That would have maybe held a lot more compelling emotional scene if we saw that. But no, instead we got this.
And what's interesting, it's like all of this happened by just looks. Like the mom and the doctor were just looking at each other and they just knew what the fuck was about to happen. Like it wasn't discussed. Like it wasn't discussed. Like, hey, this is what I want. Whatever. No, it was like, hey, I'm looking at you. You're looking at me. It's like
we both know
what you want.
Yeah,
it's time. And it's like, what? I don't get that. And maybe like this is where I'm just not there as like a film critic or something. I don't know. It didn't really make sense to me, other than what Mario said. Like, oh, maybe he's going to be constantly, oh, you know what? Maybe I just clicked for me. Yeah, what you said. Because remember, he was like freaking the fuck out. Well, let's go, man. We got to find something, blah, blah, blah. Maybe she did it, what you said, to kind of rip the Band-Aid off, and so he's not out there doing stupid shit for her and like trying to get himself killed or in danger. That's the only thing I could think of. Other than that, I'm not sure. And we don't really get an explanation as to why the doctor has moved to the mainland and is doing this, other than we have to celebrate, remember death, and like create this memorial and stuff. But we don't get more info on that, on like why that is,
or even like, where's your house?
Yeah, right.
How do you keep yourself safe from these infections?
Unless he lives under that cage thing.
That's true. That and like he has the morphine things, I guess, that he'd be shooting out that it causes them to chill out and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could really think of.
Yep.
Was there something else that we were supposed to touch on the spoilers? We talked about like
the
ending.
Oh yeah, the ending. Okay, Hav, do you want to take this?
So the ending, I mentioned that I wish that it would have ended at a certain point. Excuse me. The point that I wanted it to end is when the kid delivers the baby to the island, and he's just kind of living off in the mainland by himself for whatever reason. And it's the whole thing where he's writing the letter, and like you could hear his voice reading the letter out loud, which, you know, in movies we know implies that someone's reading it. You know, and stuff like that. And I wish it would have ended it like that. And it would have ended with, oh shit, okay, so he decides to stay in the mainland. I wonder what the sequel will do. It's obviously going to pick up with him, but now I wonder what evil lurks for the second movie. What's in store for what he faces next. I would have liked for the movie to end it like right there. If it would have been like that scene where he was just like, or you know what would have been really cool? Like when he's like cooking the fish on the stick over the fire, and then he sees the infected. Obviously he draws his bow and he kills it, because the whole thing was that he was missing his shots in the whole movie. He finally kills it in the head. And then he sees multiple running, and he's like, you know what? Too many, can't kill them all. And he runs for it. And maybe it's a scene of him running and being chased, trying to get away from them, and then like cut it off there. Maybe it plays the 28 movie, like the music, the theme song,
that'd be cool.
while it's happening. Because by the way, that's about the thing I want to mention.
Didn't play.
Never played.
Never.
Even though it was played in both movies, and you can kind of
I was expecting it, bro, but
to play eventually, and it never did. Maybe it plays the music while that scene's happening, while he's running and shit.
Maybe a recreation of a shot of like we see the over the hill and it's more infected running.
Yeah,
like
or like maybe like a drone shot of like following him and like behind him, like, and then have it end there. If it would have been like that, would have been like, whoa, I got to see what happens next type shit. But that's not how it ends. It ends with him exactly how I said it, but then he runs into this like blockage in the middle of the road made up with rocks.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck it, I'm trapped, I'm gonna have to fight them. There's too many of them though. But so he tries to kill the infected, and then he's met by this eccentric British guy who's dressed in a tracksuit with a tiara.
He's the guy from Sinners.
Yes, he is.
The cult.
He's the vampire.
Yeah, the vampire. Mm-hmm. It's him.
But yeah, you caught that. I'm surprised.
Did
you know that?
Mm-hmm. No.
Oh yeah, that's the guy from Sinners.
Well, the reason why I knew is because I even tweeted about it, because it was revealed that he was going to be in the movie.
Yes,
like
I
as a
know.
cult leader.
Yeah.
So I should remember that. And I think I tweeted something like, "Yo, bro, after seeing him in Sinners, bro, I'm looking forward to him seeing him in this movie."
Yeah.
And here we go, like we just see him a bit, but you know,
Yeah.
I was expecting he was going to be more. Yeah.
Yeah, but now now we know.
What
he's in the
okay,
second
what
one.
I thought, remember in the trailer with the masks and shit? I thought I was
Yeah.
gonna deal with the cultist, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. We're gonna deal with him as the cultist leader, and they're gonna have to traverse through the mainland and not only deal with fucking infected, but also these weird cultists and shit. But no, apparently that mask, it's like where they're at, like their tribe or something.
They're training.
Yeah, it's like what the fuck?
It was weird.
It was
because
just so
There
different.
was one scene that confused the fuck out of me. They were setting up the dinner for Spike. That's his name, right? The kid, Spike. For when he came back, and as they were setting up the dinner or the party for him, there was just someone there with the mask on, just standing there.
like,
and I'm like,
I don't know.
what the fuck's the point of that? I was like, what's going on here?
I don't know,
Like,
man.
Are these? This movie did something where it made you think one way when actually it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Right?
for sure.
So
sure.
it's like how the dad made the doctor to seem out to be this crazy, and in a way he kind of is, but in reality he's somewhat normal. What if like their village is like they're like a somewhat cult, right? Because why are they using such creepy masks, bro? Like, what's the fuck's the point of that?
Well, I took it as like they wear the masks as like
training.
as like a play role, like playing the role of infected, and like what do you
Maybe.
do when there's infected? And
I
like,
got you.
they
I just thought
practice
that
that
was
shit.
weird. That's a weird mask to put for an affected.
Anyway, I just want to throw that out there, man. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
You're on what were you
Explaining
saying?
the ending.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
So the guy from Sinners, he's the actor. He's in this movie, and he's in this tracksuit with long hair and a
Yeah.
tiara and shit. And he comes out kind of a little eccentric, kind of acting a little
Yeah.
goofy. And he's like, "Hey kid, if you want, I could help you with the infected. Trust me, it'll be our pleasure." And then these other guys pull up, and they're dressed the same.
And they have like wigs or something.
Yeah.
These blonde
Yeah, they're all
wigs.
blonde wigs, yeah.
And the kid's like, he sees that there's a lot of them, a lot of infected coming his way. So he's like, fuck it, go ahead. And they all jump down and they all start killing the infected. But the scene felt off to me because it felt very comedic and off tone to the rest of the movie.
I got you. Ready? It felt like it would have been in Boy Kills World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that type of feel. That's what I got. I'm
Bro,
like, this reminds me of
they're-
like Boys Kills World.
They were
bro.
doing a lot of like not stunts, but
Go
like
watch that,
like
guys.
like
It's
a
a
bunch
good
of
movie.
flips, bunch of backflips.
Yeah, bro,
Yeah.
like
a lot of they're
And, like,
they're
what
moving
was-
like Daredevil from She-Hulk.
Yeah.
and there was like rock music playing. It's like
Yeah.
hype. It's like, oh shit.
And I'm just like, what's going on here? Like,
Yeah.
this
Like,
who do you think
this
you
feels
are?
off.
Who do you think you are? The Power Rangers?
Yeah.
That's what I got.
When they flip around and shit.
Yeah.
And they're all different colors.
Yeah,
And they're all different colors.
Yeah. Dead ass. They're the Power Rangers.
And so I'm like, okay, and they kill all the infected, and then the guy comes down, and he's like, nice to meet you, and he shakes the boy's hand, and we notice that he's wearing the gold cross, although it's upside down, it's demonic
upside down.
shit. And that gold cross makes you think back, and it's like, oh, this is the kid that we saw at the very beginning of the movie. There was this little boy, the scene, the intro of the kid, his house is getting raided by the infected, and he
Which is fire intro.
escapes.
Yeah.
I like
And
it.
he escapes, and he meets with the father at a church, in a nearby church, and the father, pretty much just takes off his necklace with the cross, gives it to him, and tells him, and so, and then the kid just kind of runs off. We never see that kid ever again. So now we
Yeah.
find out that this guy is that kid from the beginning of the movie, all grown up. And that's the last shot of the movie, and that's how the movie ends.
That's how it ends.
Which pretty much implies that the next movie, we're going to deal with this new group of people.
Yeah.
Which now leaves me to think, like, well, given how eccentric they were acting and how off-putting, how off in tone this last scene in the movie felt, and being a little more comedic, is the next movie going to be like this?
Shit, I hope not.
And that's my fear. And now, remember, it's not Danny Boyle, cowgirl. This is Nia DaCosta, the girl who did Eternals. So we have a completely different director handling the sequel, and I don't know how she's going to treat this movie.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to bog her down, like knock her off, like as she's a bad director. I'm just saying, if this is now the group of this cult, if we call them that, if this is how they way to behave and act and stuff, is it gonna feel in line with the rest of the tone of the movies?
They can't do it, bro.
It's just
They
where,
can't.
where the story's going, bro. It's just so weird.
Yeah,
Not where I expected.
Like I think I'm gonna just say it. It's just really strange.
yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff here, and I think that's why we all gave it an 8. And it's also it's
Yeah.
well shot. The characters are written really well. Like there's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of potential here. But overall, it's just
I think
it's just so weird.
There's- yeah.
It's the it's the world building
Yeah.
that we have more questions than we do answers.
Yeah.
It's how did the infected evolve with the alphas, with the mating, with the breeding and the pregnant shit, and like, you know, how there's multiple different infecteds. How many other communities are out there? Why is this community just a bunch of dudes in wigs and tracksuits? Like, where have they been? How did the doctor, Ralph Fiennes' character, survive in the mainland for so long? Like, was he
And
just
why is he doing what he does? Like,
with the world building, I feel like I didn't get the answers, and I hate the thought that I might get the answers in the next movie, because I hate movies that feel like setup.
I got you.
This should have been questions answered for me here, and then maybe expand the world a little bit more with the next one. That's how I think they should have gone down.
I really want to go back with fucking Spike's dad, bro. Like, I want to go back with that.
Like, I'm already predicting that
he's gonna go out there and
look for Spike.
Yeah.
Because there's no way they're going to accept this 12-year-old boy who's out there in the mainlands by himself and shit. Like, there's going to be a rescue mission for sure.
And
Okay,
because
here's
the leader said, like, no one goes and rescues you. You're on
that's what I was gonna say to Hav. Is like, I think the dad is. I think
Yeah.
he's gonna try to convince everybody, yo, bro, we got to get him. And they're like, no, rules are rules. He's out there. Then the dad's be like, all right, well, I don't need y'all. And maybe he's gonna go. Yeah, maybe he's gonna go. Maybe bring like a friend, bring a buddy or something.
Oh, it's that female chick. It's
That
like,
girl?
Yeah, that girl. It has to be because there's a relationship and he doesn't want to go out there alone. She's the only one willing enough to do it. No, never mind, because the other guy's too old. I was gonna say that old dude, but no, he's too old.
Oh, Sam.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's too old. He's too old. So yeah, I could see that. But dude, I just. Oh man, I just wish that we stuck with him more. I really liked him and the boys'
The vibe.
dynamic.
Yeah.
Like, it was really cool.
I was hoping,
But I think that's everything.
Yeah.
I think that is everything, guys, for 28 years later. Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.
Peace.
See you.